You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
Good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. It's definitely summer, ladies and gentlemen. I can feel it. I can feel it outside. I started to really dive into College World Series prep last night. I think it's time. It's really, truly here. I enjoyed being outside this morning. It was really pleasant. I could have done it longer.
Is it because it was so hot yesterday?
It was so hot yesterday.
It wasn't so hot yesterday. You guys are wimps.
It was dreadful.
It was not dreadful.
When were you outside yesterday?
Like probably once every couple hours I was outside.
Okay. Well, my son just wants to live outside now. And
Yeah?
we were outside,
What's wrong with that?
After we finished, nothing other than, you get into where your house faces, where the sun sits. There's
Yeah.
no shade.
Yeah.
We were on the surface of the sun from about 6 o'clock until we went in.
Well, you can't just camp out there and,
That's what he wants to do. He only wants to go inside to take a bath, and then immediately after the bath, he wants to go back outside again.
There are days where it is miserable. Yesterday was not one of those
I wouldn't
days.
call it miserable. It was
Who
just
said
really
that?
hot.
Who, Joey, what did
I
you
said
say?
dreadful.
Dreadful.
Okay, it wasn't dreadful.
Very, very.
For,
It was
for
hot,
me,
though.
for me,
Like,
It was hot.
I was being cooked when I was outside.
It was hot.
I
That's
could feel it.
Another thing that's great about waking up this early, I forgot about these. I've seen a new version of a John Rothstein tweet this morning. You know, he gets up in the morning and he starts tweeting out quotes from things that
Is he sending
enjoys.
his T-shirts out?
So, no, it's not like, Pinnacle Bank Arena underrated at like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like life is a gift and stuff like that. He's got a new one in there.
Have you ever done that where you've been compelled to, like, every day you want to put something inspirational on Twitter?
No,
I don't think I've ever wanted
maybe
to be
when I was like
inspiring.
14.
Like, I have never viewed my role in life to inspire people. At no point have I been like, you know what I want to do today?
What if you're accidentally inspired?
I want to borrow a quote from someone else and make someone who doesn't know me on Twitter feel inspired.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what his goal is. I'm not sure.
I don't ever know what the goal of these things are.
It's
Like,
just
do you
a-
remember
it's just a
Inky
tradition.
Johnson?
Who?
Did you ever see the account Inky Johnson ever appear in your
Inky
your
Johnson?
Twitter feed?
No, I don't think so.
The recruits love retweeting Inky Johnson.
Oh, good. I don't follow the recruits.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with the recruits.
This was a large portion of my life,
Hmm.
and it was just very obviously ripped inspirational quote, like coaching cliches. It was that with inspirational quotes on my timeline, like every morning.
Wow.
From about 6 a.m. to about 10 a.m. because of the West Coast.
And
stuff.
you didn't enjoy it? You were like, I don't want to be
I
inspired
was
today.
like, why the hell is this guy trying so hard to make everyone feel good in the morning?
Mm.
Just get up and go about your day.
That's what Rothstein's doing too, except for he uses quotes from 80s and 90s movies. Here he's got a new one. This is from the arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone. Over the top.
Yeah.
Quote, the world meets nobody halfway, Lincoln Hawk. What a movie.
Wow.
I'm glad Josh told me to watch that.
Oh, that was
That was when Odson and I were doing a podcast and he was teaching me movies that I definitely should have seen a long time ago. I ended up on that
That
one.
feels like slightly too campy for you. Like a little bit too much 80s kish and all of it.
I mean, you totally understand what's going on.
Sure.
You know, like right away. You are very much
Without
immersed.
being insulting, it's not what you would consider a thinking man's
No.
movie.
Yeah, and some people just enjoy it. I don't know that I necessarily did, but I am glad that I watched it.
You are familiar with its existence.
Much like Skyline Chili. There's like a lot of 80s movies that are like Skyline Chili to me.
I feel like that's actually a pretty strong comp.
I got it. I watched it. I watched it once, and that's probably enough. I don't need to see it again.
I would be very surprised if again in your life you watched Over the Top.
I don't know. You never know. Maybe I just.
You think if you're flipping through the channels, which you can't do anymore, you would come across Over the Top, and you'd be like, you know what? I'm investing the next 40 minutes into this.
No. Closest that's happened to that recently is I think it was a couple weeks ago. My buddy texted me that Rocky IV was on, and it was like they were in the fight in Russia, and I was like, all right, I'll lob on for the next 40 minutes of this. This is gonna be good.
I didn't know you were a Rocky guy.
Well, it started. It's a pretty recent deal for me.
Okay.
Like I didn't see any of the Rocky movies until I started working here.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was probably Josh.
Was that a Josh thing as well?
It was probably Josh. I don't know that we did them all on a pod. I can't remember what we did on the podcast or not. But I was sick for a period of time, and I like a week or something like that, and I just ripped through the Rocky movies. I was very happy to do it, and I actually did enjoy the Rocky movies.
Okay.
Now they're dumb, but I enjoyed the Rocky movies.
I very much come at it where I am familiar with the Rocky movies. I have watched. They all bleed together for me in a way that's hard for me to differentiate and distinct.
I just know like the main points of all of them. You know, the big fights of all of them. Yeah.
I preferred. Well, and those haven't gone particularly well, but the first one, like I prefer the first Creed to anything from the Rockies.
See, I think I tried
Creed
to watch.
2 was so bad though that it almost made Creed like
that's sad.
You know, the first Creed worse by just being related to Creed.
Man, I tried to watch one of the Creeds on a plane once, and I just never really locked into it.
Yeah.
I didn't give it a fair shot.
Yeah, the first Creed was great. After that, it dropped off really hard. But that could just be because I'm a big Michael B. Jordan guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it might legitimately be what it is.
Sindelar writes in on YouTube, quote, "Why is this guy trying to inspire everyone every morning? Just go about your day. That itself is inspiring."
I was sitting here thinking maybe the new thing that I do is when I wake up in the morning, I'm just going to quote some random Super Troopers thing. And that's just what I'm going to be the first tweet every morning from
the
now on.
Schnozberries taste like Schnozberries.
5:15 a.m.
Or just something, very innocuous.
Yeah,
it's
which
like,
they have a third movie coming out here in a couple months.
So
Nobody's asked for this.
I don't think I ever saw the second one.
I don't know that you need to.
Yeah,
this is coming from someone who Super Troopers is like my favorite comedy.
Yeah,
right there with Wedding Crashers.
Absolutely.
It's 1-2 for me.
Yeah.
So the second one was rough. It was rough.
I don't even know what they could have done. That was pretty.
They got
recent.
in a war with Canada. Basically,
was that pretty recent?
Probably about COVID 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I never saw it.
It felt.
I don't know how I didn't ever see it.
Streaming. I don't even think it made it to theaters.
That's probably why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Well, not that I would have seen it.
Theaters
if it was
were
in
in an
theater.
interesting time at that point.
That is absolutely true. That is true. Text from the 402. Connor, Gus Johnson is a big Rocky fan. That doesn't surprise me. Gus Johnson feels like he wakes up in the morning, and if he had Twitter or if he wanted to tweet, he would do motivational quotes.
He's probably Inky Johnson, and it's just a fake personality that he's created.
Interesting.
It's possible.
I could see that.
I've never seen him. Well, I've never seen Inky Johnson.
I could see multiple personalities.
That's a real person. It could have been a fake account for years.
No, I Googled the Inky Johnson guy. He appears to be real.
He's a pastor.
Yes. He played at Tennessee.
Okay.
Apparently.
Well, the recruits love him.
Yeah, Inky Johnson. This guy is very real. I never saw an Inky Johnson thing.
Oh man,
which I'm very excited about it. It sounds like I'm in very good shape.
I could have been more grateful for life had I not seen one.
Coming up today on the show, it is Wednesday. Sam McEwen from the World Herald will join, and Lauren Michelson from KETV will join the show as well. We're one day closer on our bracket sims to it being the end of the line. Who will advance out of the hotly contested Lincoln Regional today? Don't worry, Mike Schaefer. I saw you yesterday retweeting my tweet. Stop it. Stop interacting with my tweet.
I was really disappointed because it didn't. You just got some token likes. I wanted like at least one or two more people to wade into the fray.
Stop it.
Try to get you, a little angered. I'm a little annoyed at myself that I hadn't done it earlier. It was too late.
It was
too late.
But there was still conversations going on in there, and through yesterday, there was still more people that would just discover the tweet. There was actually one that came in that I'm looking at some of the responses again. One of them said, just plain out, bleep you, which I don't know what I could have said in this tweet that would have led this person to say bleep you, like the F word.
I feel like I have generated some reactions to things that I have said that have made no sense. I've had people wish that I get diabetes. I've had like just bizarre things tweeted at me. But conversely,
I don't know what's going on with me and Twitter.
I feel like your very existence just brings on like a visceral reaction for a small segment of people.
I know.
Like there's certainly people that follow me that are attempting to troll, and you meet them and you never see them again.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
But I feel like our experiences are very different.
I don't know. It's gone south recently.
Seems like
it's like straight down the can. I used to enjoy my Twitter experience, and now I can't even tweet anymore. It's sad. It's very, very sad. So please don't interact with that tweet. If you see it out in the wild, just let it go. All right.
I think just continue to push it out.
Do not approach.
Everyone
that
retweet it.
All it said was, I think Nebraska is the toughest regional and has the easiest first round opponent. I don't even know what's controversial about it outside of being
I certainly don't think the second statement's controversial.
I don't think either
They're
of
like
the statements.
24 and 32 out of one of the worst baseball conferences.
And then there's all these stats that are come out over the last couple of days. It's like, oh yeah, I don't know who's going to come out of the Nebraska regional. All three of those teams are very likely. They're very equal, as far as we view them. I feel like that makes a tough regional, but I don't know. So if you see the tweet, just let it go. So Sam and Lauren will join us today. That is our lineup. We would like to hear from you all, 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at us at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com and the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers today. Sindelar says, time to get Happer on Blue Ski. I'm not doing another new social. I'm like Josh in this way. I am not doing another social.
Josh Hodson?
Yeah, no.
Peterson.
Peterson always says this.
I'm not. He has a blue sky.
I know, but he might have. Was he one of the people who briefly signed up for the threads when it happened?
I feel like everyone signed up for threads, but nobody actually used.
I never signed up.
I
knew what was happening right at that very moment.
I only signed up to have the general username that I have for everything. Like it's brand.
Oh, you want to just claim it?
I have never used it.
Okay.
I have never threaded.
But you're on there. It is you.
Exist on there.
It's you.
It is me.
My username is free to claim right now.
I have been, and this was when you had to get invited to Blue Sky. I've had so many people here's an invite. Here's this.
It's not that way anymore.
I don't want it. I assume you can just go and join.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't want any more social media based apps.
No, I want less.
I feel like the last one I'm going to end up using is Instagram, and even that one only just so I can watch recipe videos that I will not replicate.
Something's got to go. I got to put a time limit.
I put a timer on Facebook. It's been great.
No, I mean I think I'm going to do this thing where I just made this up. In 3 months, one of your social media apps blows up.
It's like phone cleaning.
Yeah.
Phone spring cleaning.
Yeah, you get just voted up. We vote one off the island.
Like when I go into my closet and I tell myself I have to pick 5 things that are going to get donated.
There is a clear front runner for this that is on my phone right now, and I don't know why it's on my phone.
Flight Simulator?
No, that would be last to get voted off the island.
Connor can't do away with that.
Absolutely not. No, and the flight tracker apps, which are awesome. While I'm calling baseball games,
we should do this on air because I want to delete some stuff.
All right,
but I feel like what I delete is just going to be things that I don't even use anyway.
What day would you like to delete a social media app?
This would be a good July thing to do, after
What's
CWS.
The first week of July.
Let's go to the calendar.
We'll
Well,
call it,
4th of July is on a Saturday.
phone fireworks or something.
That would be a topic alert day.
So with it being on Saturday, we should get the 3rd off, right? We should talk to Josh about this.
Well,
We got to celebrate the holiday.
it could be a topic alert. That could be topic alert day.
I don't know what that means.
This is Independence
You guys
Day.
do the topic alert thing, and I smile and nod, but I don't really know what that means.
That just means we don't want to try at work.
We just
And
want to
so-
talk about random things.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of random
To me,
stuff
it just
all day
looks like
long.
a picture of Josh and you on an escalator.
Yeah, that's how we promote it.
Okay.
That's how we promote it. Independence Day observed is July 3rd. So I would assume that means we
That's
don't.
great.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. But
I think you and I should plan on having a best of that day.
Okay, either that or it's topic alert day.
I got stuff ready anyway.
By the way, I have a calendar invite on my computer for July 1st that says prep late night style topic alert day, which I think meant we were all going to go and go out and get beers or something like that and prep topic alerts.
Oh,
How long ago did you put this in?
God
probably
knows.
after
I don't
last
think
year's
this
talking about.
involves me at all.
It doesn't because it's me, Nick, John, Josh, and Josh. And so that definitely means I was still doing the midday show at the time, which means it was not in this year, basically. So interesting. Yeah. We need to delete a social media app, and that's what we're going to do at some point. Texter writes in for the 515. From what I saw on a gambling site, Neb is in the 3rd toughest regional. Arkansas is favored in their regional as a 2 seed. Parentheses, shocker. Yeah, I mean it's obviously it's
basically the Nebraska, the Oregon, and the Kansas regional are the ones that
Yeah.
people are regarding as the toughest. And the Oregon one mostly because it's Oregon State. I don't think Washington State's getting like that much run.
Right.
Out of that group.
And
Maybe
there is-
Yale. People are like, watch out for Yale.
that was part of the problem with the tweet because people kept sending in look at the average
Submissions.
RPI of the
Yeah.
teams in this tournament, and I'm like, yeah, take out South Dakota State. They have the worst RPI in the entire tournament.
We don't need to do this today, but before the tournament starts, we should go through and pick out which 4 seed we think is most likely to make a run, which 3 seed.
Oh, fun.
That's actually a good.
Let's, we were going to do predictions. Let's
Superlatives?
add on to it with superlatives or
Okay,
the 1 seed most likely to go 0-2.
we have to remember this.
Yeah. Joey?
I'll type it on the rundown sheet.
Type it on there right now so that we can start prepping it tonight, and we could do the topic either tomorrow or Friday.
Perfect.
All right, excellent. We have topics, ladies and gentlemen. We also have some football topics today. Geep Wade, he's got a little hype train going right now. People are going to be getting flat top haircuts next
Maybe I
thing you know.
should attribute the Super Troopers quotes to Geep Wade. So then it seems like it's,
Geep Wade looks like he could be a super
it
trooper.
could be I'm all that is man
Geep-
after chugging some syrup.
Geep Wade looks like Farva. A little bit. That I don't say that in a mean way.
I'm not a pro-union guy.
So he could definitely appear in the Super Troopers movie. If anybody definitely wants to make a graphic about that, please.
I just started.
It's got to come from the public. It's got to come from the public because we don't.
I'll make it. I'll make a high.
I don't want that smoke. I don't want the smoke of Geep Wade superimposed on Farva and that it comes
I'm
from
now
me.
imagining the Nebraska staff and who slots in where as parts of Super Troopers.
Mhm.
Who's
Who's the old guy? Logan Roy,
it feels like
Phil Snell.
It feels like it's either Phil Snow or Dana Holgerson should be Brian Cox.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt Rule's involved at this.
No, I don't think so either.
Or he's the governor, or not the governor, or the mayor, whichever.
Keep
The
him
guy
out.
who grabs the assault rifle, spread it all.
That's right.
Oh, okay. So who
Nebraska
else?
football staff is super troopers. Anyway, we
I'm
can
working on
we can
this.
marinate on that a little bit. Also, I want to take a break here in a minute, and we have a couple of baseball topics that I want to get to. There was an insane baseball stat that I saw yesterday. Also, something very important happened in baseball. Very, very important. So just stay tuned for that. How did it go getting your regional tickets? Did you get murdered trying to get regional tickets? Was there some sort of a fight, like the Channel 3 news team against the other news teams, an Anchorman style fight to get regional tickets, well, I would like to hear from you all on that. How would we use tie horn? When do you press the tie horn button?
And in what way do you press the tie horn button?
It's a fascinating question we could discuss today. The SEC and the Big Ten people are still talking. What was your favorite memory of Cupcake Weekend, which is dead, according to Greg Sankey? According to Joey, we're getting some TV times today.
Did someone say schedules?
Someone did say schedules.
Joey put schedules out. We can view those at some point.
I would love to view those schedules.
It's on my Twitter.
Jordy Fromm wins National Player of the Year in softball, the best player in the country.
Do you know if Nebraska really wanted to amp up its social media game, they would have just had a bunch of highlights of the Trey Fromm and the crotch chopping, and then that's just playing over some music. And then the graphic comes out of her being the player.
How did they not?
I don't know how you don't do it.
How did they not? We have camera angles of it.
The music behind is like the DX music from the.
Oh my God!
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Yes. And just slow mo crotch chopping.
That'd
It's
be
like
great.
your National Player of the Year's husband. Text from the 515. Happer, it seems that sometimes in life you state the most blatantly obvious facts and people argue with you. Who the hell knows why? Recreational arguing, I guess. Why are these people recreationally arguing with me?
Why does that sound like it's going to be an Olympic sport at some point?
There would be a lot of potential Olympians. I'll tell you that. Find a lot
you
of
take
people
away
out there.
ChatGPT, it cuts the list down, though.
Exactly. All right. I want to hear from you guys today. Once again, 402-951-1620. We are off and rolling on a Wednesday on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. This week's zone deal is 2 cheeseburgers, a takeout joint. Get 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25, located in the Blackstone district at 40th and Farnham. Savory smash burgers, crispy chicken, all beef hot dogs, sides, cheeseburgers. Has a little bit of everything. On Sportsful Conduct has your chance to win $50 in gift vouchers this week for free if you just listen to their show and listen for the cue to call. And the zone deal is on until Friday at 9 at 1620thezone.com. Half off, ladies and gentlemen. A couple things from baseball last night. I saw the stat floating around, and it specifically applied to me because I am I've been victimized by a team who decided that they wanted to not go big into the free agency market this offseason and get a real baseball player to play in the outfield for them. And they tried to, moneyball it and quote unquote recreate it in the aggregate, like whatever it might be. So listen to this story this year. The pool of right-handed hitting, this is a very specific stat. So if you're not a baseball freak, you probably don't, understand what this even entails. So across the sport entering Monday, all right-handed hitting outfielders had combined to produce a 695 OPS. That's on base plus slugging. That would be the lowest figure for specifically right-handed hitting outfielders since at least 1969, and 14 points lower than the next worst season, which was a 709 OPS in 2024. In fact, 5 of the 6 worst seasons for righty outfielders since 1969 have come since 2022. So it's a bad time to need a right-handed hitting outfielder, and it's a bad time to be a right-handed hitting outfielder, which is crazy. And the Royals, decided that they were going to employ Lane Thomas this offseason, who's probably 50% responsible for most of these atrocities.
That's a lot of
Lane.
at-bats for Lane Thomas. I think there's a few more. I was just saying during the break that Brent Rooker, right-handed hitting outfielder, though he DHs a fair amount too. Horrible this year. Adolis Garcia, terrible this year.
Terrible.
They're
It's funny
terrible.
because Cleveland's needed right-handed hitting in the worst way possible because all of their hitters are left-handed.
Maybe the key is don't have right-handers.
It almost seems like their success this year might be in spite of the fact that they kept searching for right-handed hitting outfielders, couldn't find any that they would be able to afford,
right?
And then have just played all their left-handed players instead.
I think that's probably the right way to do it because apparently if you hit right-handed, you suck.
It seems that way.
Honestly, that is
which is wild because I think there's more left-handed pitching than ever, and you'd think the splits would then favor that, but it does not.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with that as right now too, because of this influx of all this left-handed pitching, like you said. I mean, the splits had always worked that way before, partly because only probably less than a quarter of the league was left-handed pitchers, and now we're closer to 50% likely than we've ever been in that category, and so the splits are really messed up at the moment.
There's just a lot of weird. There's been a weird baseball season to begin with. Like every closer in baseball is either injured or bad for the most part. You still have,
and guess what?
Very few teams over 500 in the AL. Like there's less teams over 500 than there are playoff spots.
And thanks to our dear friend Rob Manfred, none of this matters because the playoffs have rendered the regular season useless for the most part, and nobody really has to be urgent until like July.
Well, I don't even know if it's being urgent. It's just like guys just aren't even performing.
But it's okay.
Well,
as long as you're just hanging in the 500 range until the trade deadline, you're alive.
It's weird because it's not even like the pitching has been that great. Like I can't. It's like somehow everyone is playing at their 55th percentile result, except the Dodgers, who are at the 75th percentile result.
Mm-hmm.
But even Kyle Tucker kind of sucks, which makes me smile because they spent a bunch of money on it.
You are the number one Dodgers hater, which I appreciate you for.
I don't enjoy any of it.
Clearly, you were
nothing enjoable.
You were the number one Dodgers hater.
No, that's not true. Shohei Ohtani is very enjoyable. I like Shohei Ohtani a lot.
Okay.
That's about the extent.
All right. But is it fair to call you the number one Dodgers hater?
I accept the honor.
All right. It has been bestowed upon you
at all.
A couple more baseball things. So let's check in on the Royals from last night, who lost 15-1 to the New York Yankees. Just complete disaster. Bailey Falter, who they traded for last year, and is a person that they got back into the for some reason, Major League rotation decided that he was going to throw 92-mile-an-hour fastballs right down the middle last night. Just just consistently over 2 1/3 innings. He gave up 4 runs in the first. He did not miss like hardly anything. So here's some baseball savant numbers for you, just to put it in context real quick. I know we're going pretty deep on this, but it'll lead to a payoff here in just a second. So he threw 28 pitches in the strike zone out of his 45, I believe, pitches last night. 28 pitches of them were in the strike zone. 17 pitches were outside of the strike zone. Batters swung at 25 of Bailey Falter's pitches, and they took 20 of those pitches, and then they made contact on the 25 pitches that they swung at. They made contact with 22 of them, and 13 of them were hit hard into fair territory. Disaster. Basically, everything was coming off of the bat over 100 miles an hour last night. 13 hard hit balls to 3 not hard hit balls last night against Royals left-handed starter Bailey Falter, who does not belong in the major leagues. Thank you very much.
He has not pitched enough to get the full look at his baseball savant, but it seems like his best skill is not really even one that has to do with necessarily pitching.
What's his best skill?
His best skill is something called extension, which is how close he can release the ball to home plate.
He's definitely got long arms,
arm length, and then fingertip length, and then how the ball comes off of his hand.
Which
is weirdly,
you got to love a guy like that.
Weirdly, something front offices are very much looking for, because that makes it more deceptive for hitters.
Yeah,
the ball gets on you faster.
I would like the ability to, I don't know, miss bats, miss barrels.
Funny you say that. Chase rate, one of the lowest in the league. K rate low, walk rate low.
Disaster.
Even with these numbers that you have put up, he hasn't given up that many hard hits and barrels, but he's also, because he's not a qualifier at this point.
Correct. He hasn't pitched very much this year. So he was throwing 92 right over the middle last night. Congratulations to him. He actually survived it. From like a health perspective, he's alive right now. His baseball career may have died. And then there was this in baseball last night, a third baseball thing. This, we have to make a ruling on. This is Brewers righty Abner Uribe, who was looking to get a strikeout last night against the St. Louis Cardinals in Milwaukee. If you're watching along with this on video, this will be very important. If you're not, we will describe it to you in great detail afterwards. Here is Uribe.
See that?
That is a demonstrative multi-pump crotch chop.
Shawn Michaels would be so proud. So proud.
Demonstrative.
The form of it is good. He's got the whole body moving into it.
Now in the NFL, right, they have the 3-pump rule.
Yep.
You go 2, you can't go past 2, otherwise you're going to get a flag that gets thrown out. And he did all this and he wasn't even 100% sure that he had thrown a strike, which, to the broadcaster's credit, called out. They were like, "Yo, you better hope this is a strike." Because if you're crotch chopping on the mound and it turns out you actually threw a ball, then you can never do it again, unfortunately. Now, this will promote further crotch chopping, which I am excited about as a baseball fan. I don't know what would like compel you to immediately go into the crotch chop like he did, but he did it very seamlessly.
Yeah, it was really well done, almost effortless. To the point where you wonder, like, what's next? How does he follow this up?
I am curious.
It veers into like basketball territory.
It does.
And I don't entirely hate it. I mean, I know that we're all about decorum on this show, and this is a startling lack of decorum as far as baseball is concerned.
It is.
But I'm also pro emotion and people being excited about big things too.
I think I appreciate...
If everyone was doing this, I'd be out on it.
Yes.
Because it happened one time, hilarious. He'll probably get in trouble.
This is exactly what I thought about the tarps off things. The tarps off guys were funny at first, and then it wasn't funny anymore.
When it was Oklahoma State and they were getting mauled.
When teams were sucking, especially when teams were sucking.
Yeah, it was the Oklahoma State one. They were getting crushed on the football field. There was like 14 kids that were upstairs, taking their tarps off and swinging them around their heads. I was like, that is funny. That's just enjoying the moment,
Sure.
right? This Abner Uribe, he's just enjoying the moment. All of a sudden, everybody starts crotch chopping. It's not fun anymore.
It loses its meaning.
If Cam Schlittler's out there crotch chopping, I'm going to enjoy it a hell of a lot less.
Yeah,
This
indeed.
seemed organic. This seemed fun. And we support the initial crotch chop. We do not support an entire league-wide crotch chop policy. But this, we are okay with.
Yeah, we're
here
good
on
with this.
Happer and Schaefer. All right, let's take a quick timeout. We'll be back round at the hour right after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, amongst the things that conference commissioners are talking about these days, obviously there's some changes that are coming to the sport. Everybody's got a big idea. One of the things that we know is happening is that the SEC is going to start playing non-conference games beginning in the 2027 season, which means this is the last year of Cupcake Week, of having a Cupcake Week for the SEC. Greg Sankey said yesterday, quote, "That's the end of Cupcake Week." Quote, "We never got that one sponsored, though," which I thought was a really great quote. Obviously, it's the Cupcake Weekend is going away for obvious reasons.
I appreciate the self-awareness.
Yeah.
That he tends to not have in a lot of things.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Honestly, like Sankey gets killed on all these things for appropriate reasons.
Valid reasons. Okay,
but,
I just want to make sure that was.
But I've enjoyed my time around him and being around him a few times, whether it being at the very accessible, willing to joke around and things like that. So like, I don't know, Sankey's half cool and half like, yeah, I hate what you're doing to the sport. So there are 4 Cupcake games left this year. I wonder if these will take on a special meaning for some of the teams that are playing Cupcake teams later on in the season this year. I believe these all take place.
I wonder who played in the most Cupcake games, because it feels like it could either be like Western Carolina or the Citadel
or Mercer.
Mercer's a good one.
So the one that stuck out to me that gets one final run at Cupcake Weekend this weekend is Samford.
That's up there.
Samford is in the state of Alabama. It plays either Auburn or Alabama seemingly every year. So the 4 SEC schools that are taking this all the way to the end and playing Cupcakes this year in week 12, I guess it would be.
Yeah, usually second and last week.
Yeah, so it's November 21st. That would be Alabama, who's welcoming in UT Chattanooga. Auburn,
the Mocs,
who's welcoming in Samford. Ole Miss, who's welcoming in Wofford.
Wofford. The Terriers.
That's right, you got it. Mississippi State, who's welcoming in Tennessee Tech. I don't know.
Tennessee Tech.
Looks like a Bronco.
Tennessee State used to be the Tigers. Tennessee Tech, I don't think I know.
The Eagles, the Golden Eagles. Actually, its mascot's name is the Awesome Eagle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, if I had to say so myself. So an ode to Cupcake games, which are now gone. I do wonder, though, it'll be gone after this year. By the way, Thomas says the Citadel and Mercer have to be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The Citadel versus South Carolina was like an every year thing, right?
Yeah, because they're in Charleston.
When they were doing the NCAA selection show and I was watching it and the Citadel popped up, and I remember thinking like back on the old NCAA games where you used to get all of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was such a cool name, cool look, all of it.
It was so unique.
Then it's like it's a military school, so I can't imagine it's that great.
The Citadel and Rutgers never made any sense to me. I'm like, what? The Citadel? Rutgers? What do you mean S? Why is there an S at the end of this? Why is it a plural of Rutger? Is their mascot Rutgers?
What?
It's very confusing.
Yeah, I don't even know what Rutgers is. It's just a word that's said with a university.
What is Rutgers?
Yeah. I mean, I assume it's someone's last name of some sort.
Why was Rutgers named Rutgers? Yeah, what an interesting question. Let's see. It was originally called Queen's College and was affiliated with the Dutch Reformed Church. Was renamed Rutgers College in honor of Colonel Henry Rutgers, whose substantial gift to the school had stabilized its finances during a period of uncertainty.
Well, they've needed substantial gifts every year to keep their athletic.
I was going to say 1825. He gave $100 to the university, and then they named the whole college out.
Now that I'm thinking about things,
and they gave him season baseball tickets as well, and any chance to get on regional tickets.
I should ask Skokie's own Matt McMaster why it's named Northwestern, because it is somewhat north, but it's west of the city, I guess.
It's not west of the city. It's north of the city. It's not west of the city.
Well, it depends on like what you consider city proper. I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's not west of anything. It's on the shoreline on the east.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand where it comes from.
Great
They're gonna have to
question.
explain it.
So Al said that it's named after the historical Northwest Territory of the United States. At that in
okay.
18,
I don't know
in
that
18
I believe that.
in 1851 when it was 1851 when there wasn't really anything developed further west than
That's great lore.
I mean,
Why is Nebraska named Nebraska? Well, we know why.
because it couldn't be Exarban.
Now, I don't know how they came up with the word Nebraska,
Sure.
but I do know why the University of Nebraska is called the University of Nebraska, because it's named after
That
the
one
state.
tracks.
Yeah, that one makes a lot of sense.
The only other one in the Big Ten that I'm stuck on now is Purdue, which I assume, again, someone's last
It's got to
name.
be a guy. Yeah.
The safest bet is always just to assume someone's last name. General is a good guess because of a lot of the time period of which this
It is named after, founded in 1869 after Lafayette businessman John Purdue.
Okay.
I wonder if he's
donated
related to Will Purdue. from the
land.
Bulls.
not spelled the same.
I don't think
That's
so.
true.
Donated land and money to establish a college of science, technology, and agriculture. The first classes were held on September 16th.
You think John Purdue
1874.
knew how many astronauts were going to be coming out of that place?
He had no idea.
Probably never thought about
Yeah.
the moon at all.
He didn't think we were going to space 100 years later.
What do you think the lack of Cupcake Week will mean for the SEC and actually having to, because part of the
More
argument,
losses, just in general.
right? I mean, playing non-conference
Yeah,
games
I mean,
itself, but
it's-
specifically, like I've always thought, yes, there's the playing the 8 conference games thing, which is significant. And to your point, Schaefer, of course, you're going to have more losses when you throw in an extra conference game. I think it's an added bonus for them to have that game when they do.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if they take full advantage of it. It's not like they have a sparkling bowl record or anything like that as a conference, but it does prepare you as far from a physical standpoint to play in your rivalry game the next week.
It's like a half bye week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is.
You
It
know,
absolutely is. You could play
You're not
your
supposed
starters
to just
for
show
a
up
quarter.
and be better than the team that you play without having to do a whole lot. But
Which-
there you can.
That's the best possible thing that you could get at that point in the season. You're playing, but you're not playing. You're half resting and half
Right.
playing, and you're still getting your stats and stuff like that too if you want them.
I cannot even imagine what the prep is if you're Alabama under Nick Saban and Mercer is coming to town. Like, there's no way you aren't looking ahead to the Iron Bowl and prepping significantly more for Auburn. You're not sitting there doing an extreme film study on Mercer.
How many this is a question that we certainly can't answer right now. How many cupcake games specifically in that week has the SEC lost in its I mean, I can't recall very many.
Florida had a couple in the past.
I feel like when they lose them, though, they're more the September variety than
Yes.
they are the
Right.
Like that's
They'll
when
lose early in the
Jacksonville
season.
State is going to come through and get a win or whatever. it
Which
was.
is another advantage because the other teams that you're playing, the Mercers of the world, the Samfords, they're beat to shreds too.
Right.
And so like they're not interested in trying to win that game. They don't care. In the early season in September, they want to come in and they want to kick your butt. Like
And
they want to win.
Famously, the cupcake teams that they tend to play are not teams that are even threatening to go to the FCS playoffs. Like these are just your also rans looking for a payout to, help prop up their athletic department money for whatever it is for that year.
I wonder. I wonder if somebody looked at that. It's not in any of these stories that came out yesterday when Sankey said what he said about Cupcake Weekend being over and them not getting it sponsored, which, like I said, is funny. But I do wonder what the record would be all time in those weeks. And not every team does it every year. And like I said, there's only 4 coming up this year. But it is interesting. By the way, a couple people texting and commenting in the show. Nebraska translates to flat water in Oto. Flat water.
Okay.
That is where we are.
I remember that.
Wherever we be, as we say. All right. So Cupcake Weekend is basically dead. Rest in peace to the Cupcake Weekend. We will take a break. We'll come back, 7:00 hour. Plenty to come. We'll talk some baseball. Did you get your regional tickets? We got an email from a listener who did not get their regional tickets yesterday. I don't know what to believe on this. It feels like somebody is not telling the truth about these regional tickets.
I mean, I haven't heard a lot of stories of people that haven't been able to get tickets. I've been offered a couple myself, and so I'm going Saturday night.
Yeah.
I had an offer to go Friday night.
Yeah. So
neither of the people that had tickets are baseball season ticket holders.
we need to crowdsource this from you all.
Yep.
So we need your help on this. So if you tried, what was your experience in getting the tickets to the regional this weekend? Let us know. 402-951-1620. We'll be right back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 7 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you. We have a regional coming up this weekend. And honestly, I like I said in the last segment, I wanted to hear from you all. We need to hear stories from the public. Did you get your regional tickets? Were you able to? I don't know. I genuinely don't know how this went for folks yesterday. All the outside of the generic moaning and groaning that there always is. My read on the first run around with this, with the softball regional a couple weeks ago, was that it was a big nothing burger, and then everybody who ended up wanting to get in got in. Is this not right? Am I being lied to? I don't know.
I think the biggest issue is that the quantity limit made it difficult. Like if you were someone who had extended family that wanted to go or whatever, it was a little more difficult to round that up. But yeah, I think I also know of people who are season ticket holders who didn't get access to buy tickets for softball, but someone that they knew was a donor that bought tickets for them.
But I thought I think
people found their own workarounds.
But I thought
when they claim that all season ticket holders had access, it's not true.
It's not true.
I know of softball season ticket holders who did not have access to buy tickets as they were gone. Now, maybe it wasn't the total quantity that they wanted, whatever. I don't know the exact details of it.
Sure.
But, I mean, I think it's really hard for them to say that every single person has access to something. They have no idea if that's true or not.
Well, I mean, they would know.
Well, all of those tickets are sold by a certain point of time. You know, like if the threshold is everyone has access, is that every season ticket holder would have the approximate ability at 4:00 to buy the remaining tickets, even if that remaining amount of tickets doesn't match the amount of season ticket holders that are available.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
So, like, there's a little bit of gamesmanship in the words that's being used here.
Okay.
So if we're saying everyone has access, it's true. If 40 tickets are left and there's 300 season ticket holders and they're available at exactly 4:30 for those people, 40 of them will have access. 260 are shut out.
I get what you're saying. I guess I never really thought about it that way. And I didn't hear a whole lot of consternation coming off of the initial run through with the softball thing. And once again, my initial thought on this from the very beginning was I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because I just don't think the demand for it is as big as everybody thinks it is. I think once again, we have the Oklahoma City basketball thing in our heads, and I just don't know that we're going to be, I just don't know I think there is just about enough supply for the demand that is being shared here. Like, and I saw a lot of people yesterday talking about adding more seats and stuff like that. Like, no, I don't
know where.
I don't think that I just don't know that that's a good idea.
You're packing that.
Yeah,
like,
it's a good thing. That's what you want.
So,
like, this was never going to be, I mean, I don't know what people expected, I suppose. I mean, you're going to have 9,000 people at the game in a park that only has, 5,500 or 6,000 fixed seats? I
actually thought it was lower.
Maybe it is lower than that.
Yeah, I was thinking it was closer to just 5.
It's not going to be comfortable. No. It's just not.
No, I mean, if you are GA, like chances are you're going to have to get there really early to get a spot in the berm that you want, or you're just going to be standing and walking around the park for the most part.
Right. Which is, I mean,
fine way to do it.
Go back and watch a video from any of the regionals that they hosted, or go back and watch a video from the 2005 Super Regional. I mean, the place was out of control.
People just wanted to be through the door.
Yeah, climbing off the walls, man. I mean, it's a different deal. So we got an email from a listener last night. Actually, this listener sent it to CONNER@1620thezone.com.
I forwarded it to CONNOR.
And then, yes,
1620thezone.
Which is a place that you should email. CONNER goes to nobody.
They should actually set it up so that you get those, because it's probably common enough where there's people that have sent you emails that you've never seen or received.
That's true. I would
also think they would get the bounce back of it, though, and know that they didn't, I
don't know. I used to spell out in my Equitable Bank read that we do, like the little 15-second promos that we have that play throughout the day. I used to actually spell it out, and then I redid it, and I didn't spell it out this time because I figured people knew. But anyway, CONNOR at 1620thezone.com. Heard from a season ticket holder for baseball who claims that they never had the actual chance to buy tickets, and they could not get in. It's a fan who pays full price for the season tickets that they do have donated to a variety of different sports, like not like a tremendous amount of money, but have donated to a variety of different sports, and and testimonials about how they stayed up late and went to the Big Ten tournament game that started at 11 o'clock at night, and all those different things. And this season ticket holder is claiming that they did not, get the opportunity to actually buy the tickets that Nebraska claims every season ticket holder had the opportunity to buy yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're not going to know the full answer on this. And I, outside of this email, have not, like I said, I've heard of stories with softball with people in that regard. Yesterday with baseball seemed like it went relatively smooth. I didn't see a lot online to suggest otherwise. Like I said, I mean, I know people that ended up with tickets that aren't season ticket holders that were either buying them for season ticket holders or just buying them for themselves and they plan to go. So it seems like it went relatively smooth considering what the conversation was.
That's what I thought.
I am dubious of the claims that everybody has the opportunity to buy tickets when I at least have heard of stories where they have it.
Yeah.
So I it's just that, but you can't, if you're in Nebraska, like you're trying to make this system however you're trying to make it. Again, I would prioritize the literal sports season ticket holder over the donor, but that's me. Obviously, they're not in the business to lose money on these things, and they want to take care of their top donors and yada, yada, yada.
I'd be curious to know, what the return was when this is all said and done. Maybe this is something that they can publicize or whatever. Like, okay, so if we opened it up to the Husker Athletic Fund people, the top dollar donators or whatever, and they kind of went tier by tier on that, how many people actually jumped in? Because we know that people are going to be displaced and moved all around the park, and in some cases moved out of the park in general, simply because it is a regional,
right?
Simply because it is an NCAA event. They don't
right.
control all the seats. They have to have room for and I do feel like that is a point of this conversation that has not been talked about enough. People don't understand, but it's the truth. And so there's going to be a disruption no matter what. But I'd be curious to see how many people took advantage of it that were offered from the high donor club or whatever it was. And then how many people, how many season ticket holders, to your point, Schaefer, earlier, actually got the opportunity to purchase tickets to this event, all session tickets to this event or whatever it might be, and how many people were left on the doorstep.
I'm a little surprised they don't.
I can't imagine it's that much.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't think it's a high amount.
I don't think the demand for this, it's very, very, very high amongst baseball fans, amongst Nebraska baseball fans. Very, very, very high. But that is not a big group. And I know, and I'm not trying to say that, it's not a big group compared to some other things. It's not a big group compared to football. It's not a big group compared to men's basketball. It's just not. Men's basketball is probably its own little thing as well. It's just not compared to football. And I think we see these images of 90,000 people invading places and stuff like that. And we're like, oh, well, who wouldn't want to go to this? Well, a lot of people. A lot of people. There's a lot of people, a lot of Husker fans who are diehard Husker fans who haven't been to a baseball game in 20 years or anything like that, or go once a year or whatever.
What you want to learn, I would be fascinated. There's no way to actually get the number on this, but how many people throughout the weekend will be going to their first Nebraska baseball game this year?
Probably a lot.
That'll kind of tell you, a lot as it relates to that. So I am surprised they don't do something like you see with Major League Baseball, where if you're a season ticket holder, you can pay for your next year's season tickets up front to get priority access to postseason tickets. Like that seems like a really easy way to placate the people that are season ticket holders. Get money right away if you're Nebraska baseball. Like you're getting return on your investment for the season tickets. You're having them put money down, like let's say 80% for the next year's season ticket.
That's a good idea.
Get you priority access to postseason play. So then you're taken care of right there. You know, like you don't have to have that conversation at this point. Plus, you already then have price certainty if you're Nebraska on how many season tickets that you've already sold for this event and everything else. Like that's I don't know how the Royals have done it, but like with Cleveland,
so a lot of places do it. They
especially when they were really good in
re-up on
2016 and
season
17.
tickets and you get special perks.
You know, if you wanted World Series tickets, you had to buy a season ticket package before the playoffs had even started.
That's right.
In 2016 and 2017.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of people ended up like buying these packages and then they're selling them, whatever. But, you know, if you're Nebraska baseball, there's a hybrid version of that you could actually do, or Nebraska athletic department.
Curious to see what this looks like on Friday. It'll be an absolute madhouse. This is a place that is not, you know, just a few times over the last, well, I mean, you know, 18 years or whatever since they've hosted a regional.
Just imagine how many tweets or complaints
it's going to be terrible
about concessions.
It's going to be really bad.
Bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like that place, when it was built, was
it's
great
not,
for what it was. It's not conducive.
It's not built for that.
It's not conducive for 9,000 people.
No.
They're not set up to be able to get food flowing in and out, or their facilities that like it's
tiny concourses.
We've talked about it.
Small concession windows.
Yeah,
like not a lot of workers in there. It's just hard.
Right. And it's not likely that a new stadium is coming, but
yeah.
You know,
you wouldn't do that for this reason. These are extenuating circumstances, right? So, like, my guess is
Nebraska invades Oklahoma City.
Yeah, we are going to hear a lot about this weekend and how much of a disaster it was at Haymarket Park. And I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't really get that fired up about this because these are extenuating circumstances. There's going to be 9,000 people in a place that really should only have about 4,500. You know, or 6,000 on a really nice weekend. This has only happened a handful of times since Nebraska has joined the Big Ten, which is 15 years ago now. They've only had this many people in the building. That meant, you know, very, very few times. And certainly nothing like what reached postseason play levels in the late 2000s and in the mid 2000s when they were really rocking and rolling. So, we're going to hear from people who are going to complain a lot this weekend, and I'm going to try to ignore it as much as I possibly can. But load that thing up. It'll be really cool, but, you know, bring snacks or something like that. Also, I had a thought on Nebraska baseball. So they haven't hosted a regional in 18 years. Schaefer, you and I are of a similar age, and I think there's a lot of folks who are like this who grew up with Nebraska baseball right in the middle of their absolute, you know, peak in their heyday. A place where they're very likely never going to return to, right? They went to 3 College World Series in 5 years, which is absolutely absurd. Like, I don't think that's coming back anytime soon, but it was at the absolute peak of their powers. And it was so much fun to be around. And every weekend was sort of like this. And they just thought, you know, oh, we got an all-time great coach and this is never going to go away. Oh, look, we got another coach, even though that coach left for Arkansas, and he's going to be really good as well. And then it just fizzled out. There's something in the difference, I think, in fan bases or like the very specific kinds of people that will attach themselves to Husker baseball, that will attach themselves to Husker basketball. And then there's the generic, I think, general football fan as well. Mm-hmm. And so this is a celebration. And like each of the you know, the Nebraska basketball identified fan had a great time 2 months ago, right? Now the Nebraska baseball identified fan is going to have a great time this month. Only if they can get through the crap of, you know, people joining on and bandwagoning on and things like that. But yes, this will be a moment for that person.
I don't know, and maybe I'm just like misreading it, and like a diehard Nebraska baseball fan might completely disagree. It feels like the sort of sport where they pretty much would welcome the bandwagoning of it.
I don't know,
like the barrier of entry for it. Whereas
there's
a version of Nebraska basketball where there's a lot of people
that
have cared for a long time that wanted to protect it against any sort of which.
I know. This is what it is.
Nebraska basketball for a long time. I always find that kind of dumb.
This is exactly what I want to talk about, though. There's always we heard it in basketball, and we even see it sometimes now where like football guys will start to comment on the basketball things. It's like, yes, we did it. And the basketball people are like, stay away from me. You know, like Will Compton will jump in and he'll be like, my Huskers are going all the way to the Sweet 16. And people will be like, screw you, Will Compton. I'm good. That is the worst thing you could do. Please stay away from this. I don't want this football stink all over this. And I do wonder if it's a similar thing with baseball this weekend. I don't know.
Would be because I just think there's a little less popularity with Nebraska baseball than there has been with Nebraska basketball.
These are people like our age who have mostly experienced when they've experienced Nebraska athletics success, it has been with baseball 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
they were in their teens,
which is perfect.
Right.
Which is perfect.
Like the last
and they have
time,
never experienced football success. And they have never experienced basketball success outside of this year.
I was 20 the last time Nebraska hosted a regional. I'm 38 now.
Yeah.
Like that's
this
is an entire life.
I was in high school. Yeah.
You think about it, like a kid that was born the last time Nebraska hosted a regional could have just graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's nuts. And you go back to it, and like you said, the last time Nebraska athletics, for men's athletics especially, had like an apex of being, towards the top of the sport, was that 5 to 6 year stretch of 2000 or 99, probably 99 to 2006.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, so a 7-year run in there. That
if you asked someone my age, I'm 34. If you ask someone my age, what was your favorite time? And this is a very generic question, I guess, but like, do you have, what's your favorite memory of being a Husker fan? It's a very broad and generic question. My guess would be out of 134-year-old Husker fans, like more than half of them would say when Husker baseball was awesome in like 2005, and I would either go to the games, or I would listen to the games, or I would watch the games with my dad, or whatever it might be. I bet there would be more respondents than not who are about exactly my age, or maybe a few years less, and maybe a couple years more, who would say mid-2000s Nebraska baseball. That's my favorite memory of being a Husker fan. Point blank, period. And now we get this twinge of it is back this weekend. They're not going back to the Big 12, with that part.
Laney.
That part of us is dead, unfortunately. It is sad. And yes, we're sorry, Laney. But there is like a little bit of like, oh, wow, I get to, if I'm 34-year-old me, it's like, yeah, little high school me is back.
I have
middle school me.
So many positive memories associated with those baseball teams.
Yes.
Of whether I was like listening to games on the radio while playing baseball at my grandparents' farm, whether it's just like watching on TV, whether it's little things like Kenny Baugh, the Rice pitcher who threw like 180 some pitches in a super regional game, and just thinking about how like Keith Law's head would pop off of his shoulders if something like that happened now. Like the players from that era. It's so much fun to just sit around and think about how like Tony Watson, a Major League Baseball veteran, was really good and yet couldn't crack the weekend rotation. And so your midweek guy was this undefeated pitcher that would later be like one of the best pitchers in the Big 12 and drafted and everything else. But he's number 4, number 5 for you because you're throwing out Jabba and Dorn and Zach Kroenke, and you have Brian Dunsing, and you have all of these guys. Like that era just felt like they could do no wrong. The thing that is so halting about it is that like after 2008, when it flipped so hard.
I know. It was one day it was there.
5-year stretch of suck.
One day it was there, and the next day it was gone. It's crazy.
I remember making plans with people like, okay, Nebraska makes it back to the Big 12 tournament. We're definitely going down to the, to Brickyard. We're going to go watch this. It's going to be amazing. They never made it back.
They never made it back. And then they joined the stupid, idiotic Big Ten and had to, float around in there for a while. And now the Big Ten is like the Big Ten is kind of different now. Yeah. The The Big Ten is
I
interesting.
love that shoulder shake.
I'm not going to
Kinda
say it's
different
good or
now.
fun, but it's at least a baseball conference with a pulse now.
Well, yeah.
Nebraska baseball was dying in a wasteland, an outpost of baseball, college baseball over the last 15 years since they joined this conference. And they, not to say that they didn't, they went to NCAA tournaments. They most of the times did not go very well. And obviously they haven't been back to a super regional a very, very long time either. But now you get to, you have some people in your neighborhood who are like, you know what, this place is pretty cool. And Oregon and USC and UCLA, the best team in the country, is a great proximity to have to right now. They now live on your block. Right. And you're no longer in an outpost by yourself. You have neighbors. And I think that's obviously a tremendously positive thing. And you're hosting a regional. And there's some memories that flood back with that. And there's a lot of big picture ideas that come back with that too.
Yeah. And I'm super excited to go Saturday. I mean, assuming the Connor Happer plan works and they win 16-4.
16-4.
We get the 14-inning, 17-16 game between Ole Miss and Arizona State that burns out all of their pitching staff. I am jacked to be there on Saturday night.
Jim and O'Neill writes in on the text line. He says, as a guy who listens to /watched /went to almost every game this year, I don't care if the bandwagoners show up. Let's make that place a hornet's nest. Who cares if it's their first time watching the team? I won't be there because my kids are playing baseball and softball this weekend, but if they make the Supers, I'll try to go.
Yeah, no, I hope people are like that. I know basketball isn't, and you sort of mentioned that. And I sort of understand why, because it was like a badge of honor for a lot of people to be a Nebraska basketball fan.
100%.
I know that I distinctly, like, if you wanted to set me off in Connor Happer fashion on Twitter, it would be if I was tweeting about the basketball team and someone would be like, oh, you cover football. What do you know about it?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what do I know about it? Do I need to give you the bona fides?
It's a very specific
18-year-old kid who saw Keisei Tominaga and thinks you're a basketball expert.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
No, that was the account that would get after me. And it's like, okay, cool.
It's a very specific identity. Like there are people who just identify with it. And for basketball, there was that during their tournament run. And I don't know if it's like, I didn't mean to go like the gatekeeping route, because I don't think there, to Jim's point, I don't think there will be much gatekeeping or whatever. But there is definitely a small subsection of the fan base who's like, I'm Husker
where
baseball
when I was
first.
sitting here in March and 4 years ago, and this team was, not near what it is now.
Yeah, it's like name our fourth relief pitcher.
That's sports. I mean, you experienced that with the Royals when they got red hot and really popular, and it's like all of a sudden there's people I'm seeing wearing Royals stuff, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do you even know who Emil Brown is? Like
Jimmy Gobble. I didn't have
what was that name?
Jimmy Gobble.
I don't remember a Jimmy Gobble.
Jimmy Gobble was a guy.
Is it a relief pitcher?
He was a pitcher, starting pitcher. Yeah.
It sounds like a pitcher.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It sounds like he couldn't play any position but pitcher, or he would be your third string catcher.
They thought highly of Jimmy Gobble actually for a while, but that was a bad time.
I gotta look this guy up.
I did not have time to think about like if I was fired up.
Good
or
Lord, this is a real person.
Or check. Well, don't look at his baseball reference page. There's not very much.
1.5 WAR in 7 years as a relief pitcher. Oh no, he started games.
Yeah, no, he was a starter.
Oh my goodness, not good.
You don't remember Jimmy Gobble?
I don't.
You're off the bandwagon. Well,
I was never on.
There was no Mike Schaefer joining the Royals bandwagon. But I didn't have enough time. Like when the Royals were good, I didn't have time to think about like, am I mad or am I happy about these people who I don't care about who are wearing Royals jerseys or not? And that's
You're generally like, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me as a Royals fan.
It was.
And for 2 years, it absolutely was.
They couldn't lose.
They didn't lose.
It was great.
Enough.
It was the most. It was the most bulletproof feeling I've ever had.
Remember their ascent in 2013 because Cleveland was like trying to win every game it could in September, as it seems to every year, to try to get a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Justin Maxwell hit a walk-off grand slam
series, and James Shields and Giordano Ventura were pitching 2 of the 3 games, and it was like a tooth and nail fight. And I had to watch Rex Hudler because it was on over-the-air TV at that point in time. And I just remember thinking, like, crap, these guys are actually going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 2 years, they were basically a rocket ship.
Yep.
Hated it.
It was great. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. The one of my favorite Royals. So this is good. So like this applies to Husker fans this weekend, right? I'm curious, what was your favorite memory in the time in between where Nebraska hosted a regional? You know, like because I think back some of my favorite memories of right before the Royals went up, right before they went and won. They went to the World Series and then won the World Series 14-15. Like one of my favorite memories of that time was the last home game of the 2013 season. They didn't go to the playoffs and they were still on the on the fringe a little bit, and they were tied in a 0-0 game with the Rangers, and Justin Maxwell hit a walk-off grand slam.
Remember that game.
And I was like, and I'm like, I don't know what this means for this year. Yes, I'm excited, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be good. I like
my buddies were at that game too.
I was at that game. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
September.
I heard from multiple people, by the way, over the weekend who mentioned that game because it was the first, we had our first walk-off grand slam in a 0-0 game since then in baseball over the weekend. And I think it was Nate Rohr, and one other Tommy Rezach, who was here for a while. I think those two guys were both there, and I was like, I was there. I remember that day, or maybe it was Austin Orman, who's at the at the ticket in Lincoln.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever it was, great times. What a fun time. So, let us know on. Sorry, bounced around a little bit there. 402-951-1620. Were you victimized by the Nebraska Athletic Department in terms of being able to buy season tickets? Better call Saul. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. some connections. This is from Evan Bland of the World Herald, who had a good regional rundown in the World Herald. Husker coaches are with the Ole Miss staffers from when Nebraska pitching coach Rob Childress coached at A&M, and they met during SEC play. Rebels hitting coach Mike Clement also worked under Childress with the Aggies. Mississippi director of baseball operation Chris Cleary was Creighton's volunteer coach for the 17 and 18 campaigns. Bolt said, know those guys very well, respect the hell out of how they do things. They were a very, in times when they've been here, Ole Miss, it's a very sort of like professional type of operation. Like, you know, they get they're known for the beer showers and all the stuff like that. But like from the baseball perspective, Mike Bianco is very, you know, he goes at it from a very professional standpoint, which means they're going to be pretty well-rounded usually. And they certainly are this year. Mike Bianco, one of the best in college baseball. That is for sure. Okay, Joey, somebody said schedules.
Someone did.
Someone said schedules. So are you anticipating that today we get some game times?
We should be getting the first 3 weeks for all the conferences. Basically, according to FB schedules, a couple weeks ago, they said we should be getting.
It's usually right around Memorial Day.
Yeah, and
it's
after
usually this
Memorial
week.
Day.
They do it whenever they want to. Yeah, they do it whenever they decide to do it. And so we don't know for sure if today is the day. But Joey, it hasn't stopped Joey from making predictions on his
It hasn't.
Twitter feed, which I admittedly have missed over the last. I don't know what happened.
I posted it sometime last night. I was working on it, and then I just zoomed right through the rest of the schedule yesterday.
So you have Nebraska playing in week 1 against.
Yes, they're playing in week 1.
Ohio against Ohio at 6:30 on FS1.
Yes.
All right. In week 2, you have Nebraska playing against Bowling Green, which is the factual truth, 2:30 on the BTN. Now, the problem here is that Nebraska doesn't have a big game in each of its first 3 weeks, so it's not easy to place one of these games.
It's tough.
You also have Nebraska playing at 11 a.m. on BTN in week 3 against North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks. What else do we need to know about these predictions?
I'm guessing that's a pretty accurate summation of where at least the North Dakota game is.
I think they're going to have
at 11 a.m. Get it over with.
I think they're going to have one of these games at night, one of them in the 2:30 slot, and then one at the very early.
Was it last year where they got all the night games? They got all these.
Played a lot of night games last year.
They did. Well, it's because they had a Friday night, they had a Thursday night.
Maybe Nebraska's asking for night games. Or maybe they'll be granted it.
Could be. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that it.
I mean, with the schedule lining up,
the
it's kind of difficult.
You are likely to get one of Indiana or Ohio State later in the day.
I just mean for these first couple weeks because it doesn't matter. Like, they're not going to be beholden to a time because they're not going to be on any one of the major networks.
No,
so you could put them sort of anywhere. Like, they're not going to be in Big Noon. They're not going to be at CBS. They're not going to be on. They're not going to be on that. So you could put them wherever at whatever time on a streaming service. You could put them on Peacock. You could put them on the BTN at whatever time, and you could put them on the FS1 at whatever time. And so maybe Nebraska is just like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to be on one of the 3 main networks, but it's at night. We want to play night games at home. They've turned out to be a better, I think, moneymaker for Nebraska over the years. It's more comfortable in terms of the weather is concerned. I'd be curious if they got some night games to start the season this year.
They'll get at least one. I feel like they always get one non-conference night game. Occasionally they've gotten 2. Like, I think when they played Colorado, that was a night game, and then I think the same year they had another night game as well. It used to be like such a big deal as it relates to recruiting, but it's just not anymore. Like, they're still, if it's an 11 a.m. game, they're still going to have a mass of 2028s and 2029s and whatever else in. I feel like the game time matters less now in some ways than it used to. And I don't know if that's just because my job has changed.
I have come all the way
Or-
back around to hating 11 a.m. games.
Oh,
now.
boo. I love 11.
I know. You
Big Noon's
you and
ruined
the
it for
Big
you.
J journos all like 11 o'clock games.
Yeah, because then you have a life.
Yeah.
It's 2:30 is the worst possible start time for
That I agree with.
anyone that covers the team.
Yeah.
You don't get to watch anything before. You're at the stadium pretty much the entire time, and you're still leaving at 9
Which is
o'clock.
why I like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, late, yeah. I mean, for me, it's
because
either
I don't have to
start
turn
it
on the
early-
game until 7 o'clock. It's
Right.
great. I'm not going to the game.
Well, and so that's where my entire life is different now.
It's gonna be awesome.
So
for
I
you.
don't know.
You're gonna love night games this year.
Yeah, because I'll be here afterwards at 2 in the morning.
Ah,
listening to
sometimes.
people
It's
yell.
going to screw up your schedule as a
Sometimes.
morning
I don't
show
have a
host.
schedule. So, yeah, I still think 11 a.m. games are going to be my preference, even without going to them.
We'll see.
I don't know if I'm going to get to a single game this year.
I haven't even
I was
considered it.
thinking about that, and it's like I don't know what one that I would even go to.
You will have options. They play many home games
Still
because
Still
play
got to do
7
the
of them.
big red
No, they
overreaction
play 8?
draft.
No. Are they 5 away games this year?
Yeah, they're 5 away games.
Ohio, Bowling Green, North Dakota, Maryland, and then Washington or Indiana, Washington, and Ohio State are at home this year. So however many I just said, that's how many home games they have. Also,
7.
one of the things that happens when they announce the first 3 weeks is they announce a few like select, bigger games later on in the year.
They'll
So
also do homecoming times as well. They'll have a variety of times, and then they'll actually decide on the 6-day TV hold.
just as long as the Indiana game isn't big noon, we know that Oregon's not going to be big noon. And then as long as Ohio State isn't big noon.
It's
Hashtag
very
just
likely-
say no to big noon.
It's very likely it'll be big noon for Ohio State.
No. Why?
Because Notre Dame has a night game that week, so you either get the 11 a.m. or the 2:30
Put it on
CBS.
Peacock.
This-
I don't
It
care.
could be the
That's true.
CBS game.
Yeah. It
Well,
could be the
you-
CBS
you-
game, Joey.
the second marquee game on that schedule for that week is Indiana Washington in Seattle. No big noon for that.
Perfect. Put that on Peacock. I don't care. Put if you are
Or
feeling
maybe-
like you're going to get a big noon game, what you could do is just put it on Peacock.
Or maybe
instead.
if
Is
UCLA
this like the 11 a.m. thing, or what's with the
Yes.
anti-big news?
Just say no to big noon Fox.
I don't understand the anti-11 a.m.
I'm out on 11 a.m. and I'm out on
I like having a
big
great
noon.
I like having a great matchup in all the slots at 11 a.m., 2:30, the 6:30, and then
I
whatever
like
they get at
having-
night.
I like having a great matchup with a great environment. It can't be a great environment at 11 o'clock in
gonna be
the
a
morning.
great-
Everybody's sleepy.
It's gonna be a great environment regardless in Lincoln.
You think so?
Yeah, it will
That'd be less
It'll
so if
be.
it's well.
It'll be.
What if Nebraska's 4-6?
Well, then I think it could be a great environment to see how angry.
It could be a great. It could be a great 6:30 BTN environment.
What if Nebraska's 5-5 and they're playing undefeated Ohio State and Ohio State is like a 26 and a
Ohio
half
State
point
won't be
favorite?
undefeated.
Well, it's happened before. They played that on Big Noon
Julian
before.
Sand will screw it up before then.
You are such a hater of Julian Sand.
Now I'm just leaning into it.
You
Before
really
I was
are.
like,
He's bored.
he's whatever.
I mean, they do go to Texas,
a tough
Iowa,
schedule.
Indiana,
Yeah.
and USC.
if they are undefeated, don't play the playoff. Just give them the title.
Yeah. If they're undefeated, that would actually be wild.
Yeah.
But, what if they're like 26 and a half point favorites or something like that? I don't want to play that on Big Noon. I don't play that point blank period.
You don't want to
actually.
hear Gus Johnson.
No, I don't. I don't want him.
Now we know why he doesn't want big news.
Well, I mean, I like when Gus does stuff for clips. I don't want to hear him try to pronounce Calandria.
Andrea
this,
back to pass.
this guy Calandria. I don't want, Big Noon. I'm out on it. I'm done. I'm absolutely done with it. So we'll see if we get any games today. Usually that comes out after we get off the air, but there's a quick preview for it. And once again, hashtag just say no to Big Noon Fox.
Good luck with that, Dan.
J-Man writes in, he says, Happer coming out as an 11 a.m. truther. Didn't see that one being revealed. Wait, am I 11 a.m. truther? Or
You're
am
a
I,
truther?
Yeah,
I think I'm
you
an
are.
11 a.m. denier.
Yeah, truther doesn't seem to be the right word
Yeah.
in that. I mean, I would be the 11 a.m. truther.
Also, I am not just revealing this about myself. I've long hated it.
You said you've come full circle on it, so you must have been okay at some point in time.
Long time ago.
Oh, okay.
a long time ago when I started to get too Big Ten pilled. And now I've realized that I hate the Big Ten and I'm going to just lean against it for the rest of my life.
in your Big East polo.
Yeah, I like the Big East.
It kills me.
The Big East does a lot of great things.
You can't talk about conference honking when you are wearing a literal conference polo.
Whoa. Who's conference honking? I said I hate the Big Ten.
No. Just in general. Like, it feels like you should be anti all conference honking.
Oh, sure, I am. Yeah, I'm anti.
But you're literally honking.
This is what I wear for broadcasts. I'm on TV sometimes.
That's just honking.
It's not. I didn't like buy this shirt.
Broadcasting anything today?
They gave me the shirt,
Today
and
you're
it's a nice
broadcasting
shirt.
the Big East.
What's wrong with this shirt?
Just honking while wearing a shirt.
It's just a shirt.
It's silent honking.
I can wear a Big Ten shirt tomorrow. I have one.
Please do.
I have it. It's a quarter zip though, but it's going to be 90 degrees. I have multiple that I've received.
It won't
over
be
the
90
years.
when you get here. It won't be 90 when you leave.
I will wear my Big Ten quarter zip tomorrow and then immediately take it off to reveal my Big East shirt. We're back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Sun. 1620 The Zone and Funplex are teaming up for the VIP Friends Night Out giveaway. You could score 6 tickets to Nights at the Bay at Funplex, a private cabana, and $100 to party in style. That is with Funplex. Enter right now, 1620thezone.com for your shot at the ultimate VIP night out. And the Nights at the Bay concert series starts this coming Saturday, featuring Lemon Fresh Day. All right, Joey, let's hit the headlines. What do we got?
The first headline hits home. Dog shoots woman with shotgun at Nebraska convenience store.
She was not killed.
Okay.
Yeah.
She is alive.
She's alive. Yes.
She is alive, which is important. All right.
Do we need a second headline?
No, I don't think we
No,
do. But can we hear it anyway?
Yeah, it's British man becomes world's oldest wing walker at 98. So an old Billy flying airplanes.
Curious what a wing walker
Yeah, that's
is.
the only thing that I want to know.
What is it, Joey?
British man becomes world's old. So
What is a
What is a
walker?
wing walker?
So I looked at the thumbnail. It looks like he's parachuting or something. So
So he like walks out onto a
yeah,
wing of a plane and then jumps off of it.
I'm assuming.
All
I
right.
can take a look.
Well, we don't get to look because we didn't click that story. Instead, we go to Scotts Bluff, where a dog set off a shotgun, which hurt a woman outside a store on Saturday. The police from the Scotts Bluff Police Department were called about a shooting involving a BB gun around noon. The call later updated to say a shotgun was fired, a press release said. When officers got to the scene in Scotts Bluff near the Wyoming border, they found a truck with an attached camper, and the passenger side door panel of the vehicle had sustained damage consistent with a shotgun blast. Police said the driver went into the store to buy something, which is when his dog accidentally triggered a shotgun that had a live shell in the chamber. A pellet from the shotgun hit a woman sitting at a stoplight with her arm resting out of the window, police said. She was taken to the hospital by a family member with what's believed to be non-life-threatening injuries, police said. Police are investigating and no arrests were made as of Tuesday afternoon, but police added that Nebraska state law prohibits traveling with a loaded shotgun in the vehicle. The department said that the incident highlights the importance of firearm safety when handling, possessing, transporting, or maintaining firearms. I got to tell you, if you think I hate dogs now, if I was shot by a dog at a stoplight, just minding my own business, and it wasn't even my dog, that'd be it for me. If I saw a dog, I would be so mad.
It seems unlikely it'd be at like a stoplight, but do you blame the dog here? Shouldn't it be the owner for having these sets of circumstances?
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, it's all the owner's fault always, but like, I mean, at some point,
all the dog did was move in the car.
The dog shot me
by moving in the car. The dog didn't load the chamber. The dog didn't knowingly trigger the gun.
No.
The dog didn't leave the gun somewhere where the dog could walk.
Yeah, of course the owner is an idiot. They're both idiots.
I'm just saying. I think we're quick to rush judgment on the dog here.
But listen, once again, like in the moment, if I'm sitting in my backyard and like the dog is barking, of course I'm mad at the owner long term for not coming outside to get the dog or whatever the dog needs, help the dog out. I'm mad at the dog in the moment, though. The dog is barking. The dog is the one who is actually causing me harm in the moment. Just like if the dog shot me, I was sitting at a stoplight. I think there's a difference
between a dog barking and a dog stepping on the trigger.
They're both incredibly annoying and cause me great physical anguish.
That's why Connor moved.
That is part of the reason why I moved.
Have you noticed any dogs in the new neighborhood?
There is, but a very nice one lives next door and doesn't bark at all. Her name is Norma, and I like her.
You're not worried about being shot by that dog?
Not at all. That dog would never shoot me.
Okay.
Never.
I wonder what kind of dog it was that fired the gun.
I don't know. A dog.
Are
they not putting that information out there because they don't want to like typecast the dogs?
Maybe.
What kind of dog do we think fires a gun? It would be funnier to me the smaller the dog is, by the way.
Yeah.
It would be.
But it's got to be a big dog. I mean, we're talking about
Scotts
Scotts
Bluff. If it's a Great
Bluff.
Dane, I'm not particularly amused by it.
What if it's a golden retriever?
Seems unlikely. I could never imagine.
Dude, those dudes don't know where they're going. I mean, they're stepping on everything,
They
know?
are stepping on
Yeah. You know this.
everything. It probably is a lab. It could be a collie.
I have no photos to
No
bounce this off.
confirmation.
No confirmation on any of this stuff. Also, I'm very interested in the idea that of the initial report coming in and thinking that it was a BB gun and instead it was a shotgun. That is a very interesting contrast.
Probably the person who was shot or the person taking them to the hospital misidentified what they thought the gun was.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know how
or
you
dispatch just completely thought they heard BB guns.
I don't know how you screw it up.
I am no gun expert. However, I am enough of one to know there's a sizable difference between a shotgun shell
Yes.
and a BB.
You would think that it's hard to confuse. I don't know.
You would think.
My antennas are up about
You
this
would also
story.
think that a dog wouldn't shoot you when you're pulled up at a convenience store.
You would think that, but apparently that's not
You would
true
think that
either.
the driver in the vehicle wouldn't have a loaded shotgun as he goes to the convenience store.
Stay away
in
from
Scotts
dogs.
Bluff, where I'm sure he's probably not going to need a shotgun at a moment's notice in town.
We'll take a break. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. And we welcome you back, 8 o'clock hour of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. Many people reaching out, by the way, and saying, you don't know guns, bro, which, for the record, never claimed to and definitely don't. But a lot of people saying something to the effect of that lady that got shot in Scotts Bluff by that dog probably thought it was a BB gun because a single pellet from the shell hit her hand/arm. I don't even know what that means. I don't know guns. I shot a gun one time.
That's it?
You ever shot a gun?
Yeah.
Not a real one for me.
Who'd you shoot?
I didn't shoot any singular person.
Oh, okay.
What
did you shoot?
I've shot clay pigeons.
Oh,
I've shot
cool.
targets. I have shot birds.
I shot the air.
No, I mean, never really got into hunting, but went hunting many times when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah. My dad was really big into it.
Wow.
I'm a terrible shot. I'm left eye dominant, but I shoot right-handed, so it's a problem.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
A few years ago, I was at a range here in town, and I shot a variety of, high-powered guns, like
Whoa.
bigger than just a shotgun.
Whoa.
I shot some handguns. Handguns are notoriously, or for me, I was surprised because the weight of it is a little more than you would think. It's harder to, like you see in a movie, a random person just picks up a gun and fires off. Like,
It looks easy.
yeah, it's not. Or at least it wasn't when I was like 17.
Have you
trying
ever
to hit a pop can?
Have you ever gone to a bachelor party where they shoot guns?
Actually, no.
Yeah, I haven't
Weirdly
either.
enough, I haven't.
I'm glad that I haven't. I don't want to.
Yeah.
That seems bad.
I going to the gun range is great.
Really?
Controlled environment for it. Yeah, it's very cool, very enjoyable. Highly recommend it. I don't have like this.
Do you like
massive-
want to shoot guns though? Do you like have? Do you
all
feel
the time?
I never want to shoot guns.
There was like a period of time where I sort of was interested in getting a handgun just for the idea of going to the range and shooting it because it can be a somewhat relaxing thing.
Cool.
But no, I haven't ventured into that.
There you go.
I don't even know where they would be. I don't know if they're at my mom's house, but I mean, I was left several shotguns of my father's collection that I probably figure out what I'm going to do with.
Is it true that there's little
Some point in
BBs that
time.
come out of the?
Well, there's pellets in the shell. Yes, I guess I wouldn't have equated that to being a BB.
That's probably why the lady thought
You
that
know.
she was getting shot by
I shot
it.
black powder guns where you have to pack the actual thing.
Whoa!
Like
from the olden times.
Mhm. That was
Interesting.
part of. I mean, I was in Scouts, so I've done a lot of this because of just sort of life experience.
Okay.
In the last 10 years,
Did you win? Did you win?
The last 10 years, how many guns do? Probably that 2 times I've been to the range in the last 10 years. That's
Wow.
probably it. So-
Did you get to the end of the rainbow as far as the Boy Scout? Did you get the Eagle Scouts?
I'm an Eagle Scout.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice job.
They don't refer to it as end of the rainbow.
I mean, whatever it is.
Yeah, no,
You
I'm
got
an
there.
Eagle Scout.
You finished it.
I did.
Nice. I never did any of that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really a choice, so I was signed up for it.
They
and
just
did
put
it.
you in there.
My dad was a scoutmaster. so that was
Rattlesnake
that.
Ron says, I took a gun safety class in 1997, so I'd like to weigh in as a resident gun expert. Maybe just one of the BBs from the shotgun shell hit her, so they thought it was a BB gun. Yes, multiple people said this. Also, this is what Nick says. Show idea, Happer and Schaefer go to the shooting range and try an assortment of guns.
Yeah, I would sign up for it.
I
I don't know that it's a you thing.
I'm like, I don't know, that is an
I
environment.
think you would enjoy it more than you realize.
You think so? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's an environment that I would not be very comfortable in. I just
I think it would take some time, but like
yeah. I just have no
One,
desire to do it.
You used to pitch. You understand what it's like to perfectly throw or to do something exactly, place it where you want it. You shoot at a target and you hit exactly what you want or what you're actually aiming at.
Yeah.
It is an enthralling feeling.
I
The
guess-
endorphins are going to be there.
I was gonna
promise.
I was gonna ask you like what's the draw? And it's probably that, right? Precision.
Accuracy.
Yeah. Because I don't
For some people, it's control. That's not what it is for me.
I
with the
don't
gun.
like loud noises. I don't
Do they
like
give you ear protection?
I don't like explosions. I'm not into like action.
A
I don't
gun
care
doesn't
about I like
explode.
silence and and serenity. That's why I like golf. Like And I don't like when people have their music going on the golf course and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Like I like that stuff. That's way more my speed. I don't
Yeah.
like individual singular loud pops of
You can have ear
noise.
protection. You'd know that it's coming. You're on the range.
But what I'm saying is that would be the draw for some people for guns.
I've never met anyone where the draw was the noise. A lot of it, again, I think is the precision, the accuracy, the like, you know, if you're shooting at a target or whatever. I've shot at some strange targets where you get like the bad guy silhouette or whatever. I've shot at some of them where it's like a boogeyman or a large animal. I think you would enjoy it more than you realize.
I do like those videos of when they have a bunch of like glass bottles and then they like throw something at them and they all break. This is basically that, just except for way more high velocity. Have you ever seen those videos?
I don't know.
It's basically just engagement, like, you know.
I thought you were talking about people shooting at glass bottles, which is a thing on like farms.
Of course. But no. It's like they set up this giant wall of glass bottles and then they will like throw
like a baseball,
a ball into it, or some sort of like a smaller wrecking ball into it,
and it
all
shatters from the middle all the way through,
Yeah,
or
it'll
something.
crash out. Yeah,
I can visualize it, but I don't know exactly.
I also see the videos
feels like
where
a
they
TikTok
like
thing. For you.
it absolutely is a TikTok thing, and then they'll like roll full bottles downstairs to see how many stairs it takes for the bottles to break and stuff like that. Like that's the sort of mindless stuff that I end up watching on TikTok.
Okay.
So maybe guns wouldn't be that bad.
So, okay, go back. They're rolling bottles down the stairs
Yep.
to see how many stairs it takes for the bottle to break in its form.
Yeah.
And then someone has to go clean up all that glass.
Well, that you don't see that part on the video.
That would be the part that would suck.
Absolutely, it would. Yeah.
A glass breaking.
But you don't have to sit
infuriates me.
through it on the video. You
Because-
just get to watch the glass breaking.
Yeah, but the idea of someone having to clean, like, there are so many tiny shards of glass, and if you don't get it all picked up,
I know.
And you step on.
It's not
step
my
on
responsibility. It's a video.
it is the worst feeling when you drop a glass and then you have to clean it all up.
It is a horrible feeling.
I spend so much time like, did I get every piece? I don't want to step on this.
John says, I think Connor would actually enjoy shooting clay pigeons. All right. Maybe I could be a gun guy. Who knows? Dave writes in, he says, did we just find one thing that Hap is not irrationally confident about? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how I would do it in that environment.
Severe
Yeah.
was sitting in this chair. I think it was Friday. Was it Friday, Joey, where he was just marveling at just the irrational confidence that you have to do many, many
Yeah,
things.
yeah, it was Friday.
So,
Oh yeah, because we talk about your fear of heights, and
oh, he was shocked by
yeah,
this.
he was real shocked.
I was telling him about
So you
the
can't
weather.
say
out
it's
of all
everything. You would have to say as an innocent bystander, as an unbiased viewer of all this, you would have to say that I am honest. I'm honest. I have claimed
I
to
have
be
never
not good at
found you to be
things.
disingenuous.
Thank you.
So, I mean,
I'm not doing this as a bit. Okay. You know, I will
I
tell
think
you if I
truly
don't
believe the things that you say
Yeah.
often.
Thank you. I will tell you if I don't feel like I would do well in certain environments. There are certain environments where I don't feel like
This
I
is
would
one of those.
do very well. And apparently, yeah.
But to be clear, I
that's
would
one
not
of-
do well in it as I am a terrible shot.
Mm.
But you know,
terrible.
that's a
They're
different
terrible.
aspect.
All right, let's talk about Geep Wade. So people are liking Geep Wade at the moment. He's getting recruits. There's no better way to present yourself to the fan base than get recruits. Now, he is doing things a little bit differently as well. These are not just your layup regional, 3-star guys who are from Kansas and then will end up being players here in 4 years or transferring out before that because they were never going to be players in the first place. No. He's going into some southeastern territories.
He's going into Georgia.
He's going into Georgia to get offensive line recruits, which is not very common around here. He's doing things in a little bit of a different way, and he's getting some results on it. Will it work? Will he turn these guys into players? I don't know. But as I always say, it's always a pretty good idea, I think, to bet on talent. And that's what Nebraska is doing here. it seems like, and Geep Wade is at the forefront of these things.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be excited about Geep Wade, it's not like a really hard picture to draw. You've got a guy who was able to lure an LSU starter as an offensive lineman here, where they beat out other big teams in the Power Four conferences. And Paul Mabenga, I'm sure he was involved in Tree Babalade and Brendan Black, though we don't hear about that as much. It was just, I don't know if we were commenting on this or, when Mabenga committed, it was like Geep Wade hadn't tweeted a whole lot. And that was like, he had like this euphoric tweet about Mabenga and then the commitment.
Okay.
And so it was like, you could tell that was a big win for the recruiting staff.
I did not remember Jeep's euphoric tweet.
I'll go back and find it because I don't think he tweets all that much.
Okay.
So
Right.
it stood out because of its existence.
We're going.
And then just from talking with Tim, who we have on every Monday, Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska, and it's like, hey, of the new collection of staff talent that they've assembled, who has impressed you? They've been on the road, and he'd just be talking about Geep Wade and the guys that he was able to sort of just lure to come to Lincoln in terms of visits and the relationships that he was building. And then you end up with a guy like Jordan Agbanoma last week, where it's a really big win out of a high school in Grayson that you hope to get, if you get a player or two out of Grayson every year, that's a heck of a way to start. And then you had Katie Jones, who's a teammate of Agbanoma there out of Grayson. And then now Timi Aliu, who Nebraska was kind of the front runner for because of Geep Wade. He has a ton of great relationships. He's utilizing the cachet that he's built up at his time at Georgia Tech, where he helped get a guy as a first-round draft pick in Keelan
Russell?
Rutledge.
Rutledge, yes.
To the Texans this past year. I mean, he's your run game coordinator, and he's already apparently enacting changes with how your offensive line is both moving and doing things with the run game. Like, all of this is very exciting. The results have to follow. But that's the thing that, of course,
we've seen a lot of.
There's been times where Nebraska has a guy in Dante Williams that's a great recruiter, and then his position group is awful on the field.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want that. You want is Geep Wade to both be well regarded as a tactician and for the offensive line to show obvious improvement when they are going to be veterans and, in theory, maybe the best position on your offense.
By the way, the Geep Wade tweet from January 13th was as follows: GBR, 5 exclamation points, followed by 5 periods, ... and then 6 more exclamation points. That was the exclamation.
I remember just thinking, like, this must really matter to them. Because he hadn't done anything with anything else that had happened so far.
You're right.
And then the Mabenga news and then that tweet, and it's like, oh, this seems like a big deal.
Right. So I think the thing that I've noticed is, I think there's been a lot of offensive line coaches who have come through here, and like I said, you kind of you are maybe told, or the thought process is, hey, look, there's offensive linemen that we can build and develop here. And we are, and even in the NIL era, there hasn't been that many different, offensive line coaches in the NIL era. But I think Nebraska had certainly come off an era in which they were talking about, hey, yeah, we're going to put him in the system and we're going to develop him. We're going to get, you're not saying out loud, we're going to get lower ranked players, but that's kind of what you're saying, right? That's kind of what you're telling people. Yeah, we're going to get them. We're going to put them in our system. We're going to develop them. AKA, they're going to be lower ranked players that commit to us, and AKA, we can't pay for the big dogs. We don't feel like we're going to go into that territory and get those guys that'll work out for us, and we can't compete from a money perspective to do it anyway. If you have the relationships, if you feel like you can, sink your teeth into a few of them in that area of the country, then why not? And so Geep Wade, I just think, is doing it a little bit differently, which is fascinating to me. Like you said, I don't know if this has any impact whatsoever on his ability to actually create a good offensive line on the field, but I am interested in the idea that he's recruiting a little bit differently. And I think that's of note here. And then
these wins are against, like, Georgia.
Yeah.
They beat out Jordan Agbanoma, a Georgia kid, against Georgia. He had just visited Georgia and then commits to Nebraska like a week later. Now, we want to get into what was their NIL offer versus Nebraska. I don't know. I don't really care. You get somebody that talented. Like that's a big deal. And
Always bet on talent, baby.
one of the things that's sort of interesting is I do this a lot when I think about Nebraska's lack of success at running back. I often think about like, well, who's the running back coach's been? And you run through the list of those names, and they're not particularly impressive when you think about it. As Nebraska has had struggles since the Bo Pelini era, it's not like they've had like an offensive line coach where you're like, oh yeah, that guy was really good. It was Mike Cavanaugh, where it always kind of felt like he had. I like Mike Cavanaugh. I like talking with Mike Cavanaugh.
And they all sort of did the same stuff.
Right.
It was
he
just
would often recruit undersized guys that were plucky like he was.
Right.
You know, and then you go from Mike Cavanaugh to Greg Austin, and it kind of felt like the same thing. Like there is a level of respect that
and then Donnie was the same thing.
Like Donnie was his own weird thing because I still don't understand how that guy was so popular in the position room and yet didn't seem like he could utter 4 sentences together at any point in time.
Yeah.
So, you know, and probably because he was never interested in talking to the media, whatever. He wasn't interested in talking to recruits, which is a hard way to live as an offensive line coach
who probably needs to recruit.
So, you know, like it was but I go back to it. And it's like the last offensive line coach, and some of it, I had a really good relationship with him, but I did with Cavanaugh and it was fine with Greg Austin, whatever. John Garrison is the last offensive line coach where it's like, felt like he was good working with the players. Now he also had Barney Cotton, which however people feel about him,
Barney Cotton,
good tactician, good offensive line coach, long career. Yeah. Those two guys working in conjunction, that group of offensive linemen from the early 2010s through the end of Bo.
There's some really good players.
Yeah. Well, you had a lot of guys who had success.
And there was a combination of dudes that they developed through the system who were probably lower ranked than they should have been, or that, you know, I mean, think about the Spencer Longs of the world.
Getting the really high end guy, or if they did, and this isn't the slander or libel or whatever it would be, like you'd get Andrew Rodriguez and it just doesn't work out to where he's ever that big of a stud.
He was a starter for
Tyler Moore,
years,
and Severe was talking about this, great player, but moves to Florida because that's where his girlfriend's at. You know? So it just felt like they took the Searles and the you know, Stirrups and the Moudys and the Gerald Fosters and Nick Gates, and like those guys were pretty good players for them. But they didn't really ever have the super high end. Yeah, Brent Qualley's a good player.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think we're seeing Geep Wade's way to do it right now. Ultimately,
bring in Georgia boys.
Ultimately, he is going to be defined on what the output is as far as the offensive line is concerned and how good it is. You know, and I think he's off to a pretty good start. And so if there is any sort of off-season hype train that is moving away from the station at all, it's probably this one with how people feel about Geep Wade and Nebraska's offensive line coach hire over the offseason. Let's take a phone call here from the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Here is Andrew this morning. Hey, Andrew, what's up?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
We're good. What's up?
This is the first time in a long time that I feel that Nebraska has gone after legit talent and not projects. I feel like a lot of offensive line prospects we have taken have been projects. And let's say this all pans out with Geep Wade. And he gets these guys, he forms a good offensive line. Do you throw is he $1 million coach if this all comes to, I don't know what he makes or what he makes a year, but if he produces, could he get $1 million? Is he that type of coach?
Yeah, I think so, Andrew, and thanks for the call. I don't care how much he gets paid. Pay him whatever you want.
Right.
Doesn't bother me one way or the other. He's making $700 this year, by the way.
I knew it was over 5, but I didn't know if it was like 550, and I know it was 600. So 700,000 for Geep Wade. So they went out and they paid quite a bit for him.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like he's been worth every dollar in the offseason.
Yeah, I think that would, for the record, like in big time college football, we've seen coordinators now soar over $1 million. Like in general, offensive line coach would probably be next.
Defensive line, offensive line.
It feels like the next two most important position coaches that you have, and certainly ones that you would want to keep around for a long time and prevent from poaching, from getting poached to other places. Offensive, defensive line coach. So if they feel like they have a good offensive line coach, pay him whatever the hell he wants. I don't care. Yeah, pay him $8 million.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me.
The other point that Andrew was making is he said he felt like they took a lot of projects on the offensive line. They did. They took a fair amount of guys where it's sort of a lottery ticket of, okay, he's this size or he can move like this. We'll see how it goes. A lot of what's happened for Nebraska is that the best Midwest offensive linemen that they end up getting just haven't
panned out.
I mean, you get Turner Corcoran, who you beat out Ohio State for in Oklahoma, and he's either injured or just playing out of position because you need him to be a tackle and he's more of a guard. Grant Bricks hasn't quite worked out how you wanted. You beat out Oklahoma and Kansas State for him. Bryce Benhart, you're beating out Wisconsin and Notre Dame and all these other schools. He was good by the end of his career, but it took a long time to get there. And there was still, it wasn't quite the player that you're hoping for. He was never an all-conference offensive lineman, even though he's a top 100 player. Like Matt Farniok, same thing. Like by the end of their career, serviceable starting offensive lineman, but they're not all-conference caliber players.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're hoping to get forward. You're getting a top 100 player as an offensive lineman.
And Brian says we just have to develop him. Like there's obviously an element to that as well. They need to. There needs to be some consistency. I mean, we just talked about all the different offensive line coaches they've had at that position and all the different ways of teaching and offenses that they've tried and things like that. Like they need some consistency at that spot. I do think it would be advantageous for Nebraska to start from a higher point in terms of the talent that they're accruing as well at that position. It feels like they've always lived off the idea of we are this Midwestern program, so we don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on having like the 6-7 first round projected offensive tackle. So we're going to develop this. We're going to develop the 6'2" guard, the squatty guard, and have a serviceable offensive lineman for 3 years. And we're going to go from there. It just always felt like the way Nebraska has approached it. And that does not feel like the way that Geep Wade is approaching it.
Yeah,
I think
I'll be really, really interested what the run game kind of looks like. Joe Gans, when he was on here, was talking about how when he was a quarterback, like you knew what the checks were and you knew what the line was supposed to do, but you didn't understand how it all worked in conjunction. And that made me really think about how, like, when you're Dylan Raiola and your offensive line is set up for one specific thing and you check out of the play and the offensive line doesn't check out of their protection or they're not communicating to where they need to be for where the blitz is coming from or what they're supposed to be doing. Like just hearing Gans on Friday talk about how it was a whole other level of football for him when he learned offensive line play as an assistant coach just sort of makes me realize, like, part of Nebraska last year is you didn't have enough communication between what was happening with the back end of the play and what's supposed to happen on the front end.
No, it didn't seem like there was
which explains all of the protection issues in a
yeah,
lot.
I don't mean this literally, but like when they're trying to set something up from a technological standpoint in your house and the tech guy will come in and be like, yeah, this isn't really talking to this right now. It just didn't feel like that was happening. There wasn't a connecting. Your Bluetooth
piece. Isn't pairing.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah. It's not really connecting. Let's take a break. We will get Sam's thoughts on this. Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald and a variety of other things when we return on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, we are back here in Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Happy Wednesday, and we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline by our good friend Sam McEwen from the World Herald. Sam, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys today?
Good. What are you doing? Where are you?
I'm at a Panera Bread, going outside. Do a little early work, doing a couple early meetings with people.
It is lovely.
You know,
It is a lovely morning. You could smell it in the air. Do you smell like postseason baseball and the College World Series coming right around the corner?
yeah, and Nebraska might be a part of it. Is a part of it this week, you know. And if they were to make the CWS, you know, I'm pretty sure that downtown Omaha would, go crazy. It'd be awesome.
Connor's
there's a
biggest
shot.
nightmare.
They got a shot.
I just like it when the College World Series is the College World Series instead of the Nebraska World Series. But it would definitely turn into that, which is not like
hey, it's been 21 years.
It would be quite a lot. I mean,
Not long enough for my co-host as he wears his proud Big East polo today.
Well, I could have been wearing any shirt and been saying the same thing.
I know. I just like pointing it out.
It'd be very, very. It would. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what it would look like, Sam. I mean, we remember 2005, but it would be a completely different deal downtown, and with the way the fan base is right now, and it's not out of the realm of possibility, like you said.
It's within the realm, and I think it'd feel a lot like an SEC football game. I think if you get Nebraska baseball fans down there, it would really be something. You know, Nebraska baseball fans are a combination of like really smart baseball people who have just loved the sport and have been here a long time. And then you borrow over that overflow group that's kind of rowdy. Like it's a different kind of group that has fun. And, like Nebraska football games are a serious matter. And even the student section is pretty locked in. With the baseball, when it starts to become that overflow group, they're just as worked up as an SEC fan base. So it would be a lot of fun to see Nebraska get here, to see Arkansas get here, like some of the teams that you think about that have those kind of fan bases, and see them throw their aces out there and yell at each other. So I think that would be a ton of fun. And again, yeah, I understand that you don't necessarily want it every year, although I wouldn't argue if that happened every year, but every so often to insert that. And college baseball has changed. When Nebraska was in this thing the last time, it's not that the SEC wasn't good, but it wasn't what it is now. And now it's a really big deal.
Yep.
And you're going to see 4 or 5 SEC teams here. And if Nebraska were one of those teams, I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm rooting obviously for Nebraska because it's good business. I'd love to see West Virginia get here. I don't know that that's going to happen. They got to try to beat UCLA to do that. And I'd love to see Kansas get here. I mean, all 3 of those teams, their fan bases, their teams, the way that they play, I think it would be a lot of fun to see all 3 of those.
Sam, Connor and I were talking earlier about like that era of 99 to 2006 and of the age that we were at. I was just getting into college. He was in middle school and high school, and like what a strong, like positive era that was with Nebraska baseball, and how they're really for men's sports hasn't been anything quite like that since. What do you remember about that time period? What was that like for you with Nebraska baseball?
Well, they could hit the cover off the ball back then. They had a lot of guys on the team that, and Buck Belcher was a launching pad back when they played at the Buck. But, I remember, guys like Matt Happer and just bomb. And I had guys that I went to high school with who were on those teams. And so, there was a little bit of a personal connection to it. That was cool. I was not a great baseball player, but I played for a couple of years in high school before I was cut. And so like I'd kind of been on the field with some of those guys. They were far, far better than me. But, so, like there was a little bit of a personal connection to it that was sweet. The last team that made it was awesome. I mean, that was a super team. And obviously, the way they went out of the tournament was unfortunate, but, that team was honestly different from the first team. The first 2 teams were a bunch of, grinders, tough guys, and Shane Comine, who was, just the ultimate workhorse. By the time that the era ended, they had dudes all over the place. And, not just Alex, but, Jabba was there, and they just had all kinds of guys. So, the program kind of peaked in 05, and then, the 06 regional, I don't know what they were, the 3 or the 4 national seed. And they got, they just got stunned out of the tournament. It just didn't feel like it was quite the same after that. But the thing that I remember is people just saying, "Are you going to the game?
Yep.
When are you going down to Rosenblatt? When are you going to get there? Where are you watching the game tonight?" Just stuff like that. Like it felt like you could just go, and maybe you got in the stadium and maybe you didn't. But you were going down there, and you were going to go just be a part of it. And so that's what I remember most, is that it felt like a real. It felt different than football, and it was more of a gathering of things. And then, Nebraska basketball probably felt like I didn't go to Oklahoma City, but I suspect that there was a little bit of that feeling. But Nebraska basketball fans are different from Nebraska baseball fans too. Basketball fans were self-loathing for a very long time. Lovable losers. We embraced, not getting over the hump. And so I think there was a level of catharsis with the basketball program that there isn't with the baseball team. The baseball team, I think has a lot of those fans that are just like, yeah, so I'd love to see that energy in downtown Omaha. That would be a lot of fun, because I think it would be a part of all of the energy that's down there when SEC teams like LSU or other teams like that get really good and they're down there.
Sam, we were just talking about Geep Wade and his heater currently in recruiting that he is on. Obviously, there's that piece of it. What have you seen from him, not only from the recruiting side, and he's able to go down, and he's obviously got his teeth sunk in some Georgia prospects and is able to, from his time at Georgia Tech. But, people are obviously wondering before they want to jump onto the Geep Wade hype train here is what is going to happen on the field and what happens once he gets those guys in. What have you seen from him that you'll like and that feels like, oh, Nebraska got a real guy here as far as their offensive line coach?
Yeah, I think it was a really, really strong hire. I guess obviously that will bear itself out, but there's a couple of things that I see. One of the things that I see is that he's obviously been given, the opportunity to go out and make some aggressive financial offers. I mean, we have to start there.
Yep.
The guys that they got in the transfer portal are broadly speaking good players, and they weren't free. And so I think Nebraska maybe reset its priorities a little bit and said, no, we're going to build this thing around the offensive line. So the money that they saved by not having Dylan Raiola, and let's be honest, they did save it, probably about half of what Dylan was making, probably went to the offensive line. So some money got freed up, so to speak. And I think the offensive line got some of that invested. Then, I pick an old line from Days of Thunder. Pick a lane and drive through it. And I think that's what Geep Wade and Lonnie Teasley have done. So what they've done is they've leveraged their relationships they had built multiple years at their previous stops in Georgia Tech and South Carolina, and they're going for it. They've already picked their lane, and they're going to get the guys that they know. And I appreciate that. One of those guys is a very, very, very good player. Agbanoma. He's a top 100, drives guys into the earth kind of player, 9 yards down the field, very aggressive. That's a really good guy. Katie Jones is going to move to center, and he's going to be a little bit more of a developmental guy. He's probably not going to play for a couple of years, and he's got decent size, but he's not going to play right away. Timmy Alou, I think, is going to take a little time to develop, but guess what? They have a tackle in Elijah Pritchett, Tree Babalade this year, and they've got tackles, that are developing. So he doesn't have to play right away. And then Albert Simeon is somebody they're going to try, obviously, to get here in early June. And the way they moved up their visits, they're going to have all the offensive linemen, I think, save Matt Erickson there to kind of convince him to come. And then Matt Erickson is that other guy who was already committed when they got here. So they picked a lane and they drove through it. They're leveraging the relationships they already have. They're being aggressive. They're not waiting until June. They're getting the commits now. I'm guessing that Rule has given them the green light to say, yeah, go make the offers and let's get these guys in. And so I think those are the things that impress you, is that he's just very straightforward and direct about what he wants to get done. And he got the players that he wanted into the program. And so you appreciate the hustle, so to speak. And then, the last piece is the schematic advantage, right? So he's bringing some knowledge of Georgia Tech's gap scheme, counter scheme that they're going to try to incorporate into what they do. And so he came with, I think, a little bit of a playbook booster where he's going to be able to insert some things into Holgerson's offense that maybe weren't there before. So I think it's strong of a hire as Rule could make. It's a big hire, and I feel like they've gotten off to a really good start.
How much of it with these guys that he's brought in, save for Matt Erickson so far, is not just how they look on their recruiting profile, but like where they're actually from? Like he's gone into Georgia and taken guys that Georgia wants or that other SEC schools want. Like there's a big difference to me of doing that versus getting a Turner Corcoran or a Matt Farniok or a Bryce Benhart or a Grant Bricks, where Nebraska's gotten a one-off good Midwestern offensive lineman. This is going into Georgia and taking someone the SEC schools want.
Amen. And again, these are guys they knew, and I'm guessing they have a whole board of guys that they've known now for a couple of years. And once you get a couple of guys up here, then they can go back and they can help you recruit.
The Pied Piper effect.
For sure. Yeah. And Nebraska's never had much success recruiting the big guys in Georgia. As you know, and you've covered this a long time, they could get a safety. They got an Aaron Williams. They got a Quentin Newsome. They got some guys like that out of there, but they weren't able to get the big guys. I think some of that is Geep Wade is from the South, and Lonnie Peasley's from the South, and these guys know how to talk to kids from Georgia. And I think the other thing that you can't overlook is, yes, the NIL matters. And I don't think Georgia can just sign 6 offensive linemen from that state anymore without that offensive lineman saying, okay, so what am I getting? And I think Georgia's going to get the top lineman in the state, but the number 2 lineman in the state is better than every lineman in the Midwest.
Right.
And it used to be that Georgia could say, well, we're going to get the top 5 linemen. Well, they can't anymore because they can't put all their money toward it. And so now, maybe that kid goes to Texas Tech. Maybe that kid goes to Nebraska. Maybe that kid goes somewhere else. And so I think that's part of it too, is suddenly if you have a financially competitive offer, you can sit at the table. Whereas Georgia used to just say, this is our table. You guys can go get the 400th player in the state. We'll take all of these guys. And they can't do it anymore. And I think, anybody who's on Twitter has seen Kirby Smart's comment. He doesn't like what's going on. He just doesn't like it. And I don't blame him for not liking it because his program isn't as good as it was 3 years ago because
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, always appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald, putting everything together, putting all the pieces in the places for the coverage this weekend, whether it be in Oklahoma City for softball or in the Lincoln Regional or in Omaha for the College World Series. In a couple weeks, who knows? It could be.
It could be.
It could be. You need your microphone on to say that, but it is on now. So that is good. All right, let's take a break. We will come back, and you never know when you might want to say something.
I never do. I always assume after the end of the interview you're going to talk, then we go to break, so I just turn it off so it's off.
Hey! At least when Connor turns off the phone line, he's not turning off his microphone like he did.
Yeah,
last
that was
Friday.
fun. The other day I went to drop the call and I turned off my microphone instead.
It's just a button and you
part
want
of
to
it,
press it. It looks so enticing.
Some of it is just my entire life is so different sitting on that side of it versus over here.
It's disorienting.
It is.
That's
very
for
much
sure.
so.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Text from John. Can we get an update on your dirt lawn? Are you still waiting for sod? You know you could have seeded your lawn and had grass by now, don't you? Yes. And yes. And yes.
That's not the point.
I am owed sod.
Yeah.
I am owed sod.
When you bought the house, it was
Yes.
supposed to come with sod.
It comes with sod, and it comes with they grade it too. It needs to be graded, and none of those things have happened. Just more weeds have appeared.
Are you going to try to keep the pond?
No, I don't want the pond. I want less pond.
All right.
And the
Pond's
pond,
kind of nice. You put a little rubber ducky in there, let it sit.
the
for a while.
pond dried up already. It's gone.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, it looks like I live in the
Stupid
Did
desert.
you
hot
even
weather.
get any geese to come over and live in the pond?
No, there are geese down the hill at the actual pond.
There's a lot of geese in the northwest.
My
area.
daughter loves to
Yeah.
throw stuff into the pond at frogs or geese
Oh,
to see if they will move.
okay.
And they usually don't,
They're
because
just
she usually
indifferent. They're
finds very, very tiny little rocks.
They're not phased.
Yeah, no, they're really not. So that's the update on dirt lawn. I did go to the mail. The post office
Oh,
yesterday,
yeah, there's another update.
and they were like, "You should have mail," and I was like, "Okay, so that's it. You're delivering me mail now?" And they were like, "Yeah, I think so." And so I left the post office, and guess what I found in my mailbox?
Mail.
Wrong, nothing,
Oh.
not a single thing. So it made me even more triggered and concerned.
It's
What
not
if this
Giancarlo's
person is
fault.
just messing with you?
I don't know.
Is it the same person every time?
Yeah, they're all incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. So
How
thank
dare
you.
you speak of our civil servants? Like that?
I am sorry. So we're gonna find out in about 5 or 10 minutes here where Matt Rule is on this year's CBS Sports coaches ranked list,
Oh,
which I'm excited for. But first, we have to ask a baseball question. What are we doing with Ty Horn this weekend? When does the Ty Horn horn get sounded?
somehow I knew that was
When does the Ty Horn go off?
Rob Childress just pops out of the dugout and blows a horn.
So it is Ty Horn. So we all agree. Well, I don't know what Nebraska, I think, is throwing off on Friday against South Dakota State.
So-
I think you have to.
I had a conversation with Nick Hanley yesterday, and he was talking about and was very serious about this, that he feels like Nebraska might throw somebody like Tucker Timmerman against South Dakota State.
That seems fun.
Because
That seems great.
they basically just want to get out of that game without using any of their top starters
Great
or
idea.
Unger. And they think that Timmerman's going to be capable of handling it and everything else. And so it's like, if they can go this high risk, high reward scenario, and you get into Saturday and you've got Ty Horn and you've got Jay Sean Unger, and you're going to start with Carson Yassa, and he's going to give the ball to Ty Horn, who's eventually going to give it to Unger, and you leave with a win off of Saturday, and you use Horn for 2 innings, and you can turn around and throw him for 3 on Sunday
You're
or
set.
whatever, man, totally changes the picture.
So I don't know that I would go that deep into the well, but I guess in order to
I
really,
would consider Katsuki for Friday.
me too.
Like if he just gives you 3 innings
Yeah.
and you can score enough runs early or whatever. I mean, Cooper Katsuki is a fine pitcher. He just has gopheritis. Like he's going to give up home runs.
Yeah.
You just need him to limit those to where they're just so low home runs. He doesn't give a ton of base hits. He just gives up a ton of home runs.
15 of them, actually.
A ton of home
That
runs.
is a lot of home runs.
In like 60 innings.
in 60 2/3 innings.
It's a lot of
It's
home
many,
runs.
many home runs. I mean, to be fair, Blackowitz has given up 12 and Horn's given up 11.
Yeah.
this year. So they give up some
they'd
home
be giving
runs.
up dingers.
And it happens. So I think Horn is your second most reliable pitcher who could potentially start a game or
Yeah.
give you multiple innings.
I don't
right?
think they're going to
not
use him
named
as a
Jay Sean
starter.
Unger.
I think they want to use him as a multi-game.
There's a
pitcher.
lot of different things you could do with him though. And I do think he's really the thing that's in your back pocket. I wouldn't be surprised if you started him on Friday and gave him like 3 innings or a time
Then
through
you
the
go
order
Timmerman and
or
then,
something
yeah.
like that.
I think you don't want to use him if you can just have him fresh, ready to go Saturday.
Yeah. But I think we all agree that Yas is going on Saturday.
Yeah, Yas is your
Yeah.
starter on Saturday.
Yeah.
You're going to get at least an inning out of Unger on Saturday. In the perfect world, like I said, you're going Yasa to Horn to Unger. Nobody else is touching the ball, and you've got to win. You're going in 2-0 on Sunday.
What's the harm in doing like 40 pitches of Ty Horn on Friday so he can come back on so he can come back on potentially Sunday or even Monday.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Well, I
don't think that's the worst thing.
I think a lot of it is if just Saturday is the pivot point of the entire weekend.
Right.
I think you just want him available for that. Not
Sure.
that he wouldn't be if he threw a inning on Friday, but I wouldn't want him to go multiple innings against South Dakota State because I want him to go multiple innings against Ole Miss ASU winner.
My guess is they'll try and stay away from him. And have him available for that Saturday/Sunday situation.
What a fun discussion to get to have.
But more like Sunday. Yeah, they're in a good spot, especially when you consider Ole Miss and Arizona State are just going to beat the poop out of each other on Friday night, and Nebraska will be busy throwing Price Bender or something like that. All right, we'll take a break. 9 o'clock. Sorry, 9 o'clock hour coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Well, today is a monumental day of the offseason because today CBS Sports came out with their complete list of the best coaches in the country. This is always a lot of fun to look at and, just talk about basically who's ranked where. Of the lists, of which there are many, Mike Schaefer, this is probably one of my favorite ones, or maybe the most popular one. No surprise at who is number one in the country. It is Mr. Google Me and Mr. I only take breaks for the Indianapolis 500, Curt Cignetti. He is the number one coach in the country. He is up 20 spots from last year, where he was ranked number 21 in the country, which still felt a little bit low at the time, probably, but it takes some time. Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Marcus Freeman, and Dan Lanning round out the top 5. Nowhere in the top 25 will you find Matt Rule. Coach Matt. You will not find him in this top 25. So where will you find him?
I have a question for you.
Okay, question for you.
If you look at the top 10 coaches,
okay,
Kyle Whittingham at 10, Lane Kiffin at 9, Kalen DeBoer at 8, Mario Cristobal 7, Steve Sarkisian 6, Dan Lanning 5, Marcus Freeman 4, Brian Day 3, Kirby Smart 2, Curt Cignetti 1. What coach out of that top 10 do you, Connor Happer, least believe in? Those are all very good coaches. We'll just start with that.
For like this year or just in general? Probably Cristobal.
Yeah,
but they're going to be fine because they'll just get talent. Like they'll just continue to get talent.
It amazes me because it's like I think he's the worst coach out of that group of 10.
Me too.
And yet at the same time, what he has done is he basically was like, we're going to be awesome on the trenches on both sides of the ball. I'm going to utilize my NIL and the cachet of Miami. We're going to recruit locally for our skill position players and just develop those guys and not spend any money on that necessarily. And we'll go get a quarterback. But strategy-wise, executed it perfectly.
Yep.
And then it's like he gets into the game.
And you should give him credit for that.
Yeah,
right? Like they have the right idea.
It's like he's a general that strategizes the battle really well. And then he gets into the battle and it's like he's like, well, these were all my plans, but what if we did this? And it's just incredible to me.
Yeah.
The other guy on here that I think if they aren't in the championship game, or I think it has to be the championship game, I think there will start to be like a not a James Franklin-esque thing, but I think Dan Lanning is a little bit on notice. I think Oregon needs to win. They were the number one team a couple years ago and lost to Ohio State. They lost to Indiana. Now you could be like, well, they've lost to two of the last two national championships or national champions. What do you want them to do? I just think like they have invested so much of Phil Knight's money that the expectation is they have to at least be in the championship.
They are definitely the Penn State of last year, and that
feels that way
in that regard. The other thing that here's one. Speaking of top 10 guys, we know the story about DeBoer at Alabama, who feels, it could either blow up or be a rocket ship at any point in time. I don't know. But there is a, Lane Kiffin became the cute, funny little story, right? Who came back up and it was almost like heartwarming. And then he took Ole Miss to the playoff, and then, that whole thing happened at the end of last year. And now he's the coach at LSU. And I just really don't like the vibes.
Yeah.
Like at all.
I get it.
And so I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Odds it has real bottom out potential.
Odds are they're really good.
Sure.
It definitely has bottom out.
They went out and they got as much talent as money could buy.
Yes.
Like they have assembled an incredibly strong roster. And yet, if you were like, are they going to be a playoff team? I would say no, because it just feels like something will go wrong for them, whatever it is.
That's kind of the way I lean as well. So just watch out.
Smell to it.
So all the 68 Power 4 team, Power 4 coaches are ranked according to CBS Sports. The bottom of the list is actually quite funny. So new coaches who have just worked their way on to Power 4 jobs for the first time: Tavita Pritchard at Stanford, Tosh Lupoy at Cal, and Colin Klein at K-State, Morgan Scalley at Utah, Will Stein at Kentucky. Those are all the new Power 5 coaches, I believe, this year. Next is Bill Belichick at 63, which is quite funny. Next is Scott Frost at 62, who is indeed a Power 5 coach. Anyway, there's just some fun names and things that you could wonder about on this list. You don't have to go that far to find Matt Rule, who is ranked one spot ahead of the old James Madison coach, Bob Chesney, and one spot behind the new Florida coach, John Summerall, who came from Tulane. Matt Rule is number 37 on the list. Here's what it says about Matt Rule. There were hopes that when Matt Rule landed Dylan Raiola, it would return the Huskers to glory. That's not how it worked out, though. And after going 14-12 in 2 seasons with Raiola, Rule falls in our rankings for a second consecutive season. While he put an end to Nebraska's bowl drought and reached the postseason each of the last 2 years, Rule is yet to finish a season with a winning record in the Big Ten and is starting over again at quarterback. He was ranked as high as 31 on this list, I guess, ever. Is this an all-time? He must have been higher than that.
I would bet he was higher.
Yeah, just in his time at Nebraska.
Yeah, and it's also like, is this a different committee putting it together now than 2019? Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like they were doing these lists in 2019.
They definitely were. Yeah. I feel like he's been ranked higher than that before, but 37 is where he checks in here. John texts in, by the way. He said, we were, I'm going to take a guess and say he's ranked around 117. And then John found out that he was just doing the 68 Power 4 coaches. And then he said, I'll still say 117. Okay. Not a fan of Matt Rule. What do you think about 37 for Matt Rule?
I think it's fine. I mean, I'm looking at what's ahead of them, and there's people that you can like quibble with, but they've also had more success at the school they're at than he's had at Nebraska. So it's kind of like,
this is really just kind of slid off over the last couple of years because I remember back in the day we would have arguments about this, and most of the arguments were surrounded around like, is whatever coach Nebraska has like a better coach than Ferentz or something like that, or is he top 25, or should he be here? Like, people would argue about this, and there's no argument that Nebraska has a top 25 coach right now.
Yeah,
there's none. I mean, you can't make that argument.
I mean, they haven't had a top 25 coach in a while.
Yeah,
like if Rule gets Nebraska consistently in the top 25, then they'll have a top 25 coach again. But like, that hasn't happened. Scott Frost certainly didn't do it. Mike Riley didn't do it. Mike Riley was maybe like right around 24th when he was at Oregon State or whatever. Bo Pelini would have probably qualified as a top 25 coach at his time, doing this.
What year? Let me give me a year and I'll try and find the list.
Oh, well, let's go to 2018. It'd been the last year. 2019 going in would have been the last year with Matt Rule at Baylor. So see if you can find the 2019 CBS Sports coaches list.
Okay. I'm sure I possibly can.
Because I would love to know, that'd be the second year of Frost, 2 years removed from that, the experience at UCF. I would love to know where he would have been on that list. As I look through the rest of this, 26 through 68?
Yeah.
Is that where we're at? Deion Sanders checks in at 60. David Braun feels too low at 57, by the way. That guy has accomplished things at a place where I don't think they have talent.
So there's
a whole lot of talent.
There's always something. There's always something with these lists that bothers me, which is like, it's just, what have you done for me lately? Like, there's a lot of good coaches out there who are just coaching at places like whatever, Northwestern or whatever, who you would have to say, given the resources that they have and how the deck is stacked against them, you're like, yeah, I mean, I would want this guy at like, it really should be a binary, I want this guy or I don't want this guy.
Right.
Like something like that.
I would take David Braun.
Yeah, I would take David Braun.
I think what he has done, like the situation he got dropped in, they went 8-5. They went 4-8 the year after that, and then he bounced back to 7-6 or whatever a year ago. They did it with Preston Stone, who outside of, Matt McMaster enjoyed him briefly at times. So I think mostly didn't enjoy him.
Enjoyer of Preston Stone.
The team that came to Lincoln was not a particularly good football team. They still managed to go 7-6.
Rule, by the way, was number 31 at Baylor going into 19.
There you go. And we never got a 2020 version of it after they had the big year.
Correct. And because he was off to the NFL,
right?
He jumped from 18 to 19 at Baylor from 44. So he went up 13 spots from 18 to 19. I'm trying to find Frost almost for sure was a top 25 coach going into 19. He might have been like a top 10 coach going into 19, to be quite honest with you. But it's not, they always separate the articles. So it's like 68 through 26. And then the top 25 is its own separate thing. And then they don't have the entire list. But I will try and find it for you all. But here we go. Ranking the top 25 Power 5 football coaches entering the this is entering the 2019 season. This is what we're looking for, right? Scott Frost, do you want to guess?
27th.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't in the 68 through 26.
Oh, so then he would have been like 22.
25.
Okay.
So it says with Scott Frost going, this is after his first year at Nebraska. With Nebraska going 4-8 in Frost's first season, it's not a surprise to see his standing take a slight hit. We're all still pretty high on him. Nobody thought he'd step into Nebraska and the Huskers would suddenly be winning 10 or 11 games. But remember, 2019 was the year where people thought that had an outside chance at happening. They thought they were going to be pretty good that year. And frankly, they should have been a whole hell of a lot better than they were. He came into Nebraska ranked 21.
Yep.
So he went down 4 spots in going into 19. And then obviously was never a top 25 coach again after that. At least I would assume.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that he had been 25th going into 2020.
So just the brief look in time. So 19, top 5 coaches in college football were Saban, Dabo, Chris Peterson. Man, I miss Chris Peterson sometimes.
You can see him on broadcast.
I'm less interested in that, Chris Peterson. Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma and Jimba at Texas A&M.
Keep going. I want to hear more of these top 25 coaches.
Kirby at 6. Remember, this is going into the 2019 season. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame 7.
Yep.
Gary Patterson at TCU 8. David Shaw at Stanford, number 9. Dan Mullen at Florida, number 10.
Yeah,
you're getting into some fired guys territory now, which is great. James Franklin, speaking of fired guys, at Penn State, number 11. Gundy, 12 at Oklahoma State. Mark D'Antonio. Oh man, that's great bang for your buck right there at 13. I'd take him as like a top 5 coach.
Do you know what James Franklin is for this year's list?
At Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Probably mid-20s.
13th.
People still like James Franklin.
I like James Franklin.
You like him a little bit. People like him a little bit too much. Chip Kelly at UCLA, 14. Jim Harbaugh before their run, and he's at number 15 on this list.
I bet he went slightly lower too, because 2020 they had the horrible year.
Yeah.
And then after that was when they started cheating and won.
That's right. Pat Fitzgerald, Tom Herman, Kyle Whittingham, Matt Campbell, Mike Leach, David Cutcliffe, Kirk Ferentz, Paul Chris, Gus Malzahn, and Scott Frost. It didn't age terribly.
Where do they have Willie Fritz on this list? What a bunch of idiots.
Where's
have him in the top 25?
Where's Willie Fritz on the 2026 list?
Like 21st.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He made the top 25?
Dude's an outstanding coach.
You love Willie Fritz.
Because he's an outstanding coach.
Willie Fritz. Was he even a head coach in 2019?
Yes. He was a head coach at Tulane, I'm guessing.
Are you sure?
Yeah, pretty sure.
You want to check on that?
Yeah. I feel pretty good about that. In 2016 to 2023, he was at Tulane. Before that, he was at Georgia Southern. Before that, he was at Sam Houston State.
So did they not rank him on the?
Well, he wouldn't have been a power.
Yes, at Tulane.
So
yes, of course.
That makes sense. That checks out.
So Matt Rule, 37. That's I guess that's what you need to know going into this year.
I think that's an appropriate ranking.
Yeah, it's very appropriate, actually.
Does
Possibly
it seem high.
Possibly even being too nice to him. Yeah.
I think when you get to a certain point, and you're looking at Sonny Dykes and Dave Doran and Matt Rule, and it all just kind of runs together.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my guess.
Flex at 33, Lance Leipold's at 34, Narduzzi's at 35, and then Summerall 36, Rule 37, Bob Chesney 38, Tony Elliott 39, and Shane Beamer 40.
Higher than Shane Beamer.
He's at the very end of the guys who have been in place for a little while,
Sure.
and then you're starting to get into like lower level power four, like almost fired guys.
Where they have him
retreads.
tells me they want to move him up.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of media people want Matt Rule to be successful at Nebraska. They like Matt Rule.
They do.
Like that's what it is.
They most certainly do. All right, let's take a break. Laura Michelson is coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Lauren Michelson.
I'm hoping you guys can wake me up a little bit this morning.
Lauren Michelson.
I will not feel bad for any of you in Omaha.
Lauren Michelson.
So whenever, hits the fan.
Lauren Michelson. KETV Channel 7.
No other thing I'd rather be doing at 9:15, 9:20 in the morning than talking to you two.
Lauren Michelson on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
I am ready to get the heck out of here.
And we are joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Lauren Michelson from KETV. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
I'm doing well, you guys. Just excited for everything to come right now. There's a lot going on.
There is a big week ahead. So I guess we should probably just start there. What is on the docket?
Yeah, are you in
here?
Oklahoma again?
I am not in Oklahoma. It was a tough decision, but I spent a week there already this year. So I said, Noah, you have at it. And he's there holding down the fort for us and already doing great coverage. So yeah, Noah Sacco there. Check out his work hopefully for the next couple, for more than a week. That would be ideal, right?
Is that part of your contract that you don't have to spend more than 1 week in Oklahoma at any point in time?
For real. There's only so many. I mean, there's some great places out in Oklahoma City, but I think I was good with a week there and happy to be back here and watching from afar.
Which means you will be at the Lincoln Regional this weekend, I assume, with you and 9,000 of your closest friends.
Hey, if you ask Will Bull, he's hoping to make it 10,000.
I don't know.
I have no idea how.
The fire marshal might come in
You're
on
gonna
that
be
one.
standing with the trees over there.
I guess it's gonna be. I can't even imagine. You've been there for Nebraska baseball games, and especially when it gets going, when they get 5,000-6,000 people there. I mean, it feels pretty cramped in. I wasn't at any of the regional or super regional games when they hosted back in the day. I mean, are you excited to experience this for the first time? It's full blown Haymarket Park.
I am so thrilled to be able to be down there this weekend. Yeah, you said it. I mean, some of these games this year, the USC series, Iowa series, even some of the midweek games, Kansas State, for example, it was so packed that you kind of had that feeling like, what if they can host? What will that environment be like? And hearing Will Bolt talk so fondly about his memories, I mean, it's going to be a pretty special atmosphere. I don't know where the heck everyone's going to stand and be, and it's going to be cramped for sure, but that's what you want. And it's going to definitely be on Nebraska's side this weekend.
So, as you kind of take a look at it, you watched Nebraska baseball quite a bit this year. I mean, what stands out to you that maybe going to matter the most for them to be standing at the top of this regional when it's all said and done?
Yeah, well, the best thing is they're hot right now. The Big Ten tournament was what it was, but I think mindset wise, they're playing with a lot of belief. They're playing for one another. Their heads are in the right space, and this was the ultimate goal for them all season, regardless of what happens this weekend. Of course, they were very vocal about it when we talked to them on Monday, but they want to make it further. But this was a vision in their mind from day one. We want to host a regional in Lincoln. So now that they're there, it's almost like they have even more confidence that, okay, we've earned this. We've deserved to be in this position. Let's see how far we can really take this. And they have a chance. So I think they feel good as for how they're going to play. They're doing well. They're one of the most complete teams, I think, in the country when you look at an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint. When it comes to the bullpen, some of their arms are still trying to figure out who can be some of those late game closers. But besides that, I think they're firing on all cylinders and have a really good shot to do well in the regional. Will they make it out? It's going to be tough, but I think they have a chance to.
You've been around these College World Series teams over the last couple of years since you've covered the event, and I always find it difficult to watch what we watch here in the spring, whether it be Nebraska or Creighton, and then when those teams get here in June, it always feels like a completely different sport. But now that is not necessarily the case. I mean, could you see a world where Nebraska makes a run and they are one of those 8 teams at the end in a few weeks?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to know for sure. I think, yes, there is a world in which Nebraska can make it happen, but they need to be dang near flawless to do so, which are they capable of that? Sure. We've seen that happen this year, but it's tough when you have these perennial powers. And, Ole Miss and Arizona State, for example, like they're traditional powers in the sport. They've combined for 6 College World Series titles. Like they are used to being in this position and making it further. And Nebraska just hasn't been there enough. So I think if there's any team to do it, it's the group Will Bolt has right now, and they want it so bad. So all I can say is buckle up, and we'll be in for a show this weekend.
Lauren, thinking back on it, all the different places that you've been this year, covering all the different sports that have had success, is there like a common denominator for you when you sort of think about the different teams across the Nebraska athletic department, whether it's football to its degree, volleyball, even though they came up short, and then you have basketball and you have the individual sports. Now we have softball and baseball. Is there a common denominator for why Nebraska athletics seems to be having so much success in the 2025-2026 school year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's silly, but who really knows? But when you spend so much time with these teams, and it hasn't always been like this, but the commonality, at least for this year's group, between volleyball and basketball and baseball and softball is as silly as it sounds, they really love each other, and they are actually having a blast playing with each other, and it shows. And when you really like playing with the group you have, and you're focused on what can be done with the group that you have, you're not really thinking about anything outside of the program. So you're even more so locked into the task at hand and what the team you're on can be capable of. Whereas if there is some maybe locker room, clubhouse drama, or things aren't going exactly the way they would want it to be going internally, it's going to show on the field of play, whatever that may be. But these teams have all really enjoyed one another. They've played very selflessly, which is also a rare trait sometimes in this day and age. And they've all had it. And so, especially when you look at Nebraska softball, like I don't think there's a team out there having more fun when they take the field than Nebraska softball is right now.
I would also say confidence. I mean, and just to transition that over to Nebraska softball, like they absolutely believe they can win the national championship, which is a great, like that sort of exudes from them when I watch them, Lauren.
Yeah, I sat down with Rhonda earlier this year, kind of I'd say back in March when things were still looking obviously really good, and I just asked her like point blank, like she loved the team she had last year. There were so many of the same women on last year's roster, like so many similarities, yet this team's success is so evident. What is the difference? And it's not just in the way they're playing. She said the difference is last year they really had to kind of work their way up to that confidence. They didn't really believe they belonged to even be in a super, playing a super. They thought, they were nervous about a lot of things. They're learning to work together, and that confidence that you said was not there. This year, she says they've had that belief that they could win a national championship since day one. And they talk about that belief so often that it's not even like a forced thing anymore. It's just innate. And that team definitely has the makeup to do it. And they have carried that belief with them all season. So yeah, confidence is spot on.
This is going to sound insane given that the team also has Jordy Ball on it. But is there anyone that has more confidence than Alexis Jensen? Because I don't know that I've seen it. Just based on how she is in every major situation and then the success that follows.
She is so awesome. No, I think Alexis Jensen is one of a kind. Watching her pitch is so fun. In a situation like this, going into the Women's College World Series, not only you're taking a team that hasn't been there in over a decade, but you have the pressure of bringing home the program's first national title. And then, you're playing with the player of the year in Jordy Fromm, and now you're a freshman on this big stage. But that maybe with some people that would make me a little nervous. I have zero nerves and concern for Alexis Jensen taking as big of a stage as Nebraska is about to take. She does not let anything get to her. She is so unbothered. She doesn't get too high. She doesn't get too low. And she's just so unapologetically herself in the circle that she's just having a blast. And I think that has been absolutely, of course, one of the secret weapons. But if you ask Rhonda, she said it on Monday, like, yes, we're all talking about how incredible, of course, as we should, the pitching's been this season. And as much as people point to that, there's also been a lot of different stars on different days on offense. And, one of those people is Hannah Core. And she's very much used to this big stage. Obviously, her and Jordy Fromm were freshman year roommates at Oklahoma, have been to countless Women's College World Series together, but her confidence as well. I think that the three of them, those are weapons that Nebraska has that will be on fire this weekend.
Will you commit to wearing Alexis Jensen style warrior paint if Nebraska wins the softball championship?
If Nebraska softball wins the national championship, I will borrow the eye black and wear it on air. I'll
That's
invite
great.
her to come on with me.
Thank you for being a good sport.
Walk around with their arms flying.
I would love to see Lauren throw a pitch and then walk off the mound Conor McGregor style wearing that face.
So much swag.
That would be amazing, Lauren.
I'm here for it. You guys gotta check out Alexis Jensen has a TikTok. When I interviewed her recently, she told me to go check it out. She does snack reviews on there.
Whoa.
They're quite hilarious. She's got a lot of layers.
Yeah. Okay. This is good. I'll be checking that out for sure. All right, Lauren. Well, enjoy the week and the weekend. Should be a lot of fun around here. We appreciate your coverage as always, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Lauren Michelson from KETV. Should be hanging out with all the Husker fans in Lincoln this weekend. I got to check out this Alexis Jensen TikTok situation.
Yeah,
I don't know what gets
review
said
it for
on
both
there.
of us.
I don't know what gets said on there, but I am excited to see what gets said.
You
on
said
there.
snack reviews?
Snack reviews. I imagine there's a bunch of other stuff going on
Yeah.
too.
Well, now I want to know what snacks are being reviewed. Like this is
Do I do this
is
live on the
pertinent
air?
information that the people want to know.
Okay, well, just give me a second.
I mean, we could come back with this information, I'm sure, too,
That's true.
along with our bracket sim of the day.
She
One
could
day
be-
away from the bracket sim of record. by the way.
She could be reviewing those exotic snacks we.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. Like, is she getting wild tasting Doritos or like
Spanish ham Pringles.
Spanish
ham sandwich.
looks like Mountain Dew, dirty Mountain Dew.
Okay.
That's
Did
the
you
first.
know like the dirty pop craze was a thing?
I have seen these stores pop up, and what is wrong with you people?
My wife
Cream
claims
soda
this
is
like
awful.
a product of the secret Mormon wives thing. Like it's like
The fizzy whizzies.
yeah, like she says it's a direct. I don't know why she would know this, but this is what she's claiming.
It's very, very possible. I have seen those stores pop up though. Apparently, we're getting one in Omaha.
Yeah, But
What is
just
wrong with you
beyond that?
people?
Like all the
Cream
pop
soda is
companies
disgusting.
are now just throwing cream soda and everything.
Cream soda is disgusting.
I don't agree with that.
Do not drink cream soda.
Don't agree with that take.
Let's see what other snack reviews do we have on here. It looks like a 7 brew. All right, I am interested to take a dive here. See what's
Was
going on.
maybe we'll find out that Alexis Jensen was in line that day, that the line went all the way out to Elkhorn.
Probably. But there's been some in Lincoln, I think, for a while.
Yeah, no, they've had 7 brews for a while.
All right, we'll take a break, and we have our bracket sim, and we'll get you out of here. By the way, we didn't mention this. Congratulations to Jordy Fromm, who won the National Player of the Year yesterday in USA Collegiate Softball National Player of the Year. So here's the list of things that she did. 10th, or she ranks in the top 10 nationally in ERA, 4th, saves, 1st, shutouts, 4th, strikeout to walk ratio, 3rd, strikeouts, 9th, and whip, 5th. Also, if the season were to end today, Fromm would rank in the top 10 in program history in total bases, 2nd, slugging percentage, 4th, extra base hits, 5th, runs scored, 5th, batting average, 6th, home runs, 6th, hits, 8th, and triples, 10th.
She's been here for effectively 2 seasons.
Correct.
Does she have the greatest knee injury of all time?
Yeah,
If they win
yes,
the national championship, it is the single greatest knee injury that's ever happened in Nebraska.
bar
sports.
none. Top of the list.
Yeah, I don't even know what another close possible, the most insane sentence to say, but none of this happens without this knee injury.
We're back with our bracket sim right after this on 1620 The Zone. Congratulations to Brendan Sorsby, who is no longer a gambling addict. He announced yesterday. So nice job.
You get a prize.
Nice job by him.
Did you know the Texas Tech president, I think it was president, sent out like a release to the entire school announcing that Sorsby had completed this and that they were going to be behind him, and
I did not know
the value of standing behind your Red Raiders, people and everything else. Very big deal down there in Lubbock.
Admittedly, he does need a little bit of a image rehab as well. This is probably the start of that. He says, if I'm blessed and fortunate enough to have the opportunity to continue my career at college, Texas Tech, I know I will get the support I need, including through the school's Center for Students in Addiction Recovery. I am deeply sorry to everyone I've disappointed, and I'm committed to the hard and necessary work ahead. Good job by Brendan. And but unfortunately, you will not be playing college football this season. That ship has, I believe, sailed. He's not playing. I'm not even entertaining this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm entertaining it more than you are. I think it's less. I don't think it's likely that he plays, but there's still the avenue. There's always the avenue.
There's always an avenue. That's for sure. So let's go to our bracket sim. I was counting up on the pair rating site how many of the 4 seeds have 0% chance to get out. It's actually more than you think. So Binghamton has no % chance to get out of the Morgantown Regional. Illinois Chicago has no % chance to get out of Atlanta and Georgia Tech. Ryder has no % chance to get out of Gainesville, Florida. Alabama State has no % chance to get out of Tuscaloosa. Holy Cross has no % chance to get out of Texas. South Dakota State, none in Lincoln. Milwaukee, none in Auburn. Long Island, none in Georgia. And that would be your 0% teams. There's also a handful of them with 1% to get out.
The highest, and you pointed this out, I think the other day, Northeastern at 5%.
That's absolutely the 4 seed. Out of all the 4 seeds that I wouldn't want to face, that is the one. It's either them or St. John's. I say this with my Big East shirt on, Schaefer, but
Thank you for acknowledging.
They're going to go down there and they're going to throw out Liam O'Leary on Friday against Florida State, and it's going to. He will throw 190 pitches if he needs to, and they're going to be in that game. They have 4 very good hitters at the top of their lineup.
Look, it wouldn't be a shock to me if St. John's beats Florida State in the first game. It would be a shock to me if St. John's won a regional based on what you've said about their pitching staff.
They have 2.
Beyond the first 2.
They have to be 2-0.
Yeah.
They have to be 2-0, and they could possibly piece it together after that. But they have to be 2-0. They were 2-0 at the Big East tournament, and they would need to be 2-0 at the NCAA tournament.
St. John's and Northern Illinois have the same percentage chance in that regional.
Northern Illinois. Let's go.
I didn't even know they were good at baseball.
I didn't either.
Honestly, I said this the other day. It's wild to me because I
don't think I've ever thought about MAC baseball before.
Well, but I've never thought about like Northern Illinois in any context that wasn't football.
I know.
I never thought about their basketball program or anything like that.
I don't think so. Have they made the NCAA
genuinely
tournament?
Somewhat surprised they have other sports.
Nick in St. Louis texts in. He says, I thought yesterday was the last bracket sim. No, I sort of misspoke on that. I don't know why. Like, it'll be the day that the tournament starts.
So we're doing Friday now.
Yeah. The last bracket sim is Friday. The bracket sim of record is Friday. I was just misspeaking.
We're only going to do one of those, and it's just you that will press the button.
I think so. If you guys are okay with me,
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, we're going to simulate today's bracket, where Nebraska, of course, is the host in Lincoln, and they do not get out. They lose to Ole Miss, who advances to the Super Regional and loses to Auburn.
I have a Connor World Series, but Nebraska makes the Super Regional and loses to Auburn.
Okay.
I have Nebraska in the Super Regionals losing to UCF.
Okay, so they're hosting.
Whoa.
Hosting a Super Regional and losing to UCF would be
Scott Frost come to Lincoln.
No.
Imagine how many photos would be taken.
There'd be a lot of photos that'd be taken. There'd be a lot of questions that would be asked, like, do you know Scott Frost?
Do you think Scott Frost has been to a UCF game?
Baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, he could do so in relative anonymity.
Yeah, we know he values that.
Mm-hmm. You could go to the
I bet
grocery
he
store.
hasn't. I bet he's not been to a single UCF baseball game.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably
He is a
not.
baseball guy, though. He likes baseball.
He does like baseball. He likes golf. And his
Loves golf.
extra long shorts and, things of that nature. I have UCLA, Miami, North Carolina, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia. Very, very
I have the same exact 4 on the left side.
SEC
then
heavy.
Kansas, Florida State, Oregon State, Mississippi State over UCLA.
I got
Okay.
UCLA, Florida, North Carolina, UCF, Georgia Tech, Alabama, Oregon, and Georgia. UCLA over Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, like I said this yesterday, Georgia Tech, UCLA seem to be the 3 where it would be a pretty big shock if they weren't to get to Omaha.
I feel like Pair Ratings really loves Mississippi State. Like, I feel like there's a lot of Mississippi State all over the CWS.
I always get Georgia Tech at the end of mine. Georgia Tech always ends up winning, which
I'd be okay with
I
that.
very likely. I mean, I could see that they are very, very good. Won the ACC regular season, won the ACC conference tournament. If you're Georgia, you won the ACC regular, or you won the SEC regular season, you won the SEC conference tournament. If you're UCLA, you won the Big Ten in the regular season. You also won the Big Ten conference tournament as well. And so that would put you in a good position. Of course, UCLA is most certainly going to be the number 1, or is the number 1 overall seed, and will very likely advance to Omaha. But I cannot shake this feeling that somewhere along the way they get clipped.
Whoa.
Somewhere
By
along the
Binghamton.
way. I don't know. Is it West Virginia that finally gets over the hump and gets them? I don't know where it is. I don't know who's likely to do it. It's not going to be Binghamton. But I can't shake the feeling for some weird reason. Anyway, that will do it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Tomorrow is Thursday already. Join us then. The crossover's coming up next.
Happer and Schaefer.